South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Yeah.
97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
Now, live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Hump Day Wednesday on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We got a jam-packed show coming up for you today. We got to get into today the Eagles retool. What are the Eagles at this point in the offseason rebuild? Remember, what has happened so far is not the finished product. You're just laying the groundwork for what the Eagles roster will be for the 2025 NFL season. Also, some interesting rule changes being introduced. All that and more, plus Phillies continue to trim down their roster in spring training. And boxing back in Atlantic City this Saturday at the Tropcast Showroom. Boxing Insider Promotions presents 5 undefeated New Jersey fighters on tap this Saturday. Your tickets are available still at Ticketmaster.com. Get those tickets before you lose your preferred seats. Here's the rundown for today's show. Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City coming up in about 25 minutes from now. Larry Goldberg, boxing promoter from Ventnor. He is the man behind Boxing Insider Promotions event this Saturday, Tropicana in Atlantic City. He will join me coming up at 3 p.m. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. We'll get more into the Eagles offseason in the NFL with him at 3:30. Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, Eagles Insider at 4 p.m. Nick's Nuggets is back. Nick Earnshaw joins us coming up around 4:30 today. Ryan Rothstein for an edition of Rye or Sigh at 5 p.m. And then the Phillies mailbag with Frank Klose joins us at 5:30. So, a lot of guests coming up. And, of course, you guys can join the conversation as well. 609-403-0973. You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And if you want to get a look at the Ocean Casino Resort Studios, you can go to my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. All right, so let's dig deeper into what I mean by giving a closer look at the Eagles retool. Because we have two simultaneous organizations in Philadelphia making very interesting decisions about their rosters right now. On the one hand, you have the Philadelphia Phillies, who are getting ready to start their season coming up in less than 10 days, right? And we know it's less than 10 days because it's next Thursday, where everyone who is already qualified must be in attendance at Maynard's and Margate when Mike Gill and the Sports Bash broadcast live for the big ticket giveaway for Phillies opening day and Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field. And we have an opportunity for you to qualify all day today here on 97.3 ESPN. But while the Phillies are retooling their roster to get ready for the regular season, the Philadelphia Eagles are retooling their roster to make the transition from Super Bowl champion to defending champions. And Philadelphia has been through this fiasco before. Remember, it was after the 2017 season that Philadelphia had to retool their roster. They lost Torrey Smith, among others, in free agency that year. LeGarrette Blount didn't come back, right? We know that Brent Selleck retired. So there are some interesting parallels between that team and this team. But the biggest difference is what Howie Roseman has said before, that 8 years ago, he made the mistake of hanging on to certain players and giving out contracts he probably should not have. And for all the consternation about the Eagles and them losing players in free agency, I brought this up this weekend on the Locker Room with Billy Schweim here on 97.3 ESPN, and I will bring it up again here. If you look at the overall list of players who are no longer with the Eagles, that list is not as daunting as you think it is. Remember, who exactly were free agents this offseason? Okay? Now, take your emotions out of it. Don't get emotional about it. Let's be honest. You lost your number 3 defensive tackle, Milton Williams. You lost a pass rusher who basically got overpaid to leave Philadelphia and Josh Sweat. Milton Williams was the number 3 defensive tackle. You lost a 34-year-old starting cornerback. All right? Who else did you lose? You lost your backup tackle, Fred Johnson, to the Jags today. Big whoop. Mekhi Becton got 2 years, $20 million after having the only good year of his entire NFL career in Philadelphia. He was considered a bust, a failed draft pick in the first round. Philadelphia got something legitimate out of him. And now, you trade C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who probably, I would argue, is the biggest loss of all the moves so far this offseason. You lost him, but you got Kenyon Green, who is in a position to maybe be the next Mekhi Becton. So, aside from the safety position, where exactly has Philadelphia this offseason really lost anything? They've pretty much replaced almost every position of any significance. And while guys like Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche have some injury history issues, you didn't pay them a lot of money. It's not like if they get injured, it's going to be a problem, because they're not going to be a huge dent on your cap. They're not going to be a huge penalty for you in the short or long term. And realistically, the only other move that I would like to see Philadelphia do as of right now, aside from adding a safety, is making a decision about Bryce Huff. And if I'm Philadelphia, I'm calling some teams and saying, I'll give you a draft pick to get rid of this guy. Because the Philadelphia Eagles, if they could find a way to unload Huff's contract, that would be the biggest win of all. But at the end of the day, if all I'm worried about is Bryce Huff's contract and who's going to play the safety next to Reed Blankenship, I'm doing all right. Now, I hear what some of you might be saying out there listening on 97.3 ESPN FM, or listening on 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Some of you may be saying, yeah, but the problem is, look at all the other teams, what they have done so far this offseason. Well, typically the team that wins the offseason never wins in the regular season. I know it's exciting when other teams sign players and make additions. I know it's fun and, oh, look at the new shiny toy that I got for Christmas. Oh, look at the fancy new car I got thanks to the bonus from my job. Oh, man, look at the fresh new kicks that I got with my tax return money. We all love new stuff, okay? We all love fancy and new and exciting. I don't deny that. But I'm not going to be one of these people that is going to sit here and ignore the fact that at the end of the day, Howie Roseman's got the kind of track record that I'm going to trust. Now, on the flip side, I should have that same attitude when it comes to the Philadelphia Phillies. Should being the key word. Because Dave Dombrowski has a history of building World Series contenders. Remember, from the Florida Marlins to the Detroit Tigers to the Boston Red Sox and then the Philadelphia, Dave Dombrowski has built rosters that have won every step of the way. Either they win a championship or they get to multiple World Series. Marlins won a World Series. Tigers got the 2. Red Sox won a World Series. Phillies have already been the 1. So I should be trusting Dave Dombrowski with the same type of belief that I am giving to Howie Roseman. So what's the difference? For me, the difference is very simple. The difference is I've seen Howie Roseman do it more recently than I've seen Dave Dombrowski do it. Now, that might not be fair, and that might not be the right way to look at it, but it's how I feel. Listen, I'm a fan just as much as you guys. It's my job to be objective. It's my job to come up on this microphone and give you the facts and information. It's my job to be objective. It's my job to see the forest for the trees. But just because that's my job doesn't mean I don't have the same feelings as a fan. And I look at the Phillies and I say, what on earth are you doing? And I look at the Eagles and be like, oh, Howie and Howie we trust. I'm just keeping it real with you guys. I implicitly trust Howie Roseman. Was the Bryce Huff signing a great move? No. Am I still wondering what they're doing at safety because I haven't seen them do anything yet when it comes to filling that void? Absolutely. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the Eagles are just all of a sudden going to be a problem because on March 19th, I don't know who the starting corner and the starting safety are. I've seen this franchise win championships. So there is a part of me that looks at this organization and says, I know what to expect from them. I don't know what to expect from a guy like Dave Dombrowski, who, I mean, if we're being honest, has gone through 2 straight off seasons that have been, frankly, disappointing. Aside from the addition of Trey Turner 2 years ago, what has been the big move that this organization has done that has gotten any of us excited? Every offseason, Howie Roseman does something to get us juiced up. Every offseason. There's a move, there's a draft pick, there's a trade, there's something that says, hey, I can't wait for football season. Frankly, baseball, you look forward to baseball because it's baseball. Not because there was a move this offseason that got you pumped up for Phillies baseball. And look, we can discuss for the next 10 days about who's leading off for the Phillies, right? We can discuss for the next 10 days what do we think are our expectations for the season. And we'll do that in the coming days here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios of Atlantic City filling in for Mike Gill. But for me, I look at two executives who both have championship experience. And for me, on the one hand, I genuinely look at Howie Roseman and Dave Dombrowski very differently. Now, is it fair? You guys tell me. 609-403-0973, your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. But my patience with the Phillies is getting, the patience meter is getting low for the Phillies. Because again, I look at what the Phillies did the last two off seasons. Frankly, I hated the Max Kepler signing. I mean, why do we need another left-handed power hitter on this team? Stupid move, in my opinion. And the fact that Bryce Harper says to Ken Rosenthal and confirmed to Todd Zalecki, Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic and Todd Zalecki of MLB.com, that if the Phillies would have signed Pete Alonso, he would have been fine with it because he would have moved from first base to the outfield. Well, what are you guys doing? To me, I need my team to show me that they care as much about winning as I do. As a sports fan in Philadelphia, we live and die with our teams. We are passionate. We are invested. Howie Roseman gets it. I'm not sure if Dave Dombrowski gets it. And the biggest frustration I have going into this Philly season is what I saw today. I know it's spring training. I know I'm not supposed to think too much about any of this stuff. But if we're hoping to go into the year with Trey Turner as the leadoff hitter, then why on earth is Kyle Schwarber leading off today? Why? I'll tell you why. Because the Phillies are an organization that is telling you to trust them, but they haven't given you a lot of reasons to trust them. They haven't given you a lot of reasons to be like, I believe in this team. I know they can be something. I know they can make the playoffs. Howie Roseman gives you a reason to get excited every offseason. Frankly, I'm stoked about adding Azeez Ojulari. I feel like this is a perfect Howie Roseman move. A guy who has a ton of potential. And honestly, I like the idea that this team is not overspending on my number 3 defensive tackle and a potential one-hit wonder in Mekhi Becton, and not overpaying for a 34-year-old corner in Darius Slay. But the reality is the Phillies adding Max Kepler and Jose Luzardo. I'm sorry, it's not enough to get me excited. And now it's spring training, and we go for weeks talking about how Trey Turner might be the leadoff hitter, might be the only thing we have to look forward to with this team. And all of a sudden, your lineup today for the Phils this afternoon is Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Kepler, Realmuto, Castellanos, Stott, Marsh. First of all, why do we have 3 lefties in a row from 8, 9, and 1? And number 2, I thought the whole plan was to get Schwarber out of the leadoff spot. Why are we running back to that? Tim in Summers Point chimes in at 609-403-0973 on the text board. He says, Josh, we've seen the best of this Phillies team, and it's unfortunately in the rear view mirror. They have been on the slow decline since winning the World Series, and they have not made any moves that have made them any better, only moves that have made them worse or lateral moves. That's from Tim in Summers Point. I don't know if they necessarily gotten worse, only because I do genuinely think that Trey Turner was an addition. Is he a $300 million addition? No. I think the addition of Luzardo definitely gives them 7 deep in the starting rotation, and that'll help them, Tim. So I don't think they've gotten worse. And I've talked and debated with people about this. I think letting Hoffman go is actually the smart move. Because, as Steve Phillips told Mike Gill in the Sports Bash last week, evaluating bullpens is an erratic deal. And sometimes you keep a guy too long and not let him go soon enough when he's already, kind of hit his expiration date. So, at least for me, I don't think they've gotten worse, Tim. I agree they've gotten lateral. There has been a decline. Now, what that decline really is, not 100% sure. Because we see all the time in the postseason that the best team doesn't always win in the playoffs. And I think the Phillies' individual players have gotten better in some cases. I think Kyle Schwarber losing weight last year was a huge part of his having a better year last year than the year before statistically. Frankly, Castellanos is always going to be Castellanos. And Brandon Marsh is just who he is. So I think with Tim Summers' point, I think it's more lateral than they've gotten worse. But you're right. It's the idea that the best of his team might be in the rearview mirror. And if it is, well, some of you guys are going to be pining for football season a lot sooner than you might have wanted to. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We'll talk more about this coming up next with Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging out with you on Hump Day Wednesday on 97.3 ESPN.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is simple and effective. At the end of the day, it's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports New Jersey is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports New Jersey app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit with up to $400 in bonus bets.
Terms and conditions apply. Real money wagers equal to deposit plus bonus required before withdrawal. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them. They have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Accomplishing goals is hard. But when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Listen to all the madness. March Madness is coming to 97.3 ESPN.
Don't forget, coming up in about 25 minutes from now, your next opportunity to qualify to win either tickets to Phillies opening day, or you can qualify to win tickets to see Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field Memorial Day weekend. Opportunities every hour on the Sports Bash today. And, of course, if you do qualify, you must be present next Thursday when Mike Gill and the Sports Bash are broadcasting live at Maynard's in Margate. So when you hear the sounder each hour, you can qualify here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. And we were talking before the break about my perspective on the differences between the Phillies and the Eagles. We'll get Mike McGarry into this conversation. Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City joining us now on 97.3 ESPN. First, Mike, how you doing today?
Doing well, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, but I wanted to start with you to ask you if I'm being fair, okay? And that is,
okay.
I said before you came on that, there is a feeling among sports fans, and myself included, that we look at Howie Roseman, right? And we look at him as a guy that we trust, right? We trust what he does. We know he's got a process. We know he's going to find a way to build. But then I look at Dave Dombrowski, a guy who also has won championships, a guy who also has a very, very good resume. But why don't I look at him the same way I look at Howie? Why do I look at a guy like Dombrowski and I say, I need to see more, but with Howie, I'm trusting him maybe a little bit too blindly? Am I being fair in how I'm looking at these guys?
No, you're not. I mean, to me, Dave Dombrowski is a accomplished general manager, director of baseball operations, maybe one of the best director of baseball operations general managers in baseball history, a surefire Hall of Famer, and a guy who, unlike Howie Roseman, has done it with more than one team. He did it with the Marlins. He did it with the Tigers. He did it with the Expos. He did it with the Boston Red Sox. And now he's doing it with the Philadelphia Phillies. So if you're looking for the old motto of in Howie we trust, I mean, in Dave we would trust twice. I mean, because to me, Dombrowski's career is much more impressive than Roseman's career based on the fact that he's done it for 5 different teams, where Roseman has just done it with the Philadelphia Eagles.
And I hear you. I totally do hear you, Mike. I'm just trying to, because I'm trying to differentiate the fan in me versus the objective. The objective person says, I look at Dave Dombrowski, I look at the Phillies, and I know that they're a contending team. But the fan in me says, Howie Roseman does something every offseason to get me at least a little extra excited. And Dave Dombrowski added Jesus Luzardo and Max Kepler this offseason.
Well, I think you should be excited if they stay healthy about Luzardo and Kepler. I think they're 2 good offseason additions. And I think we're kind of looking at Howie Roseman here through rose-colored glasses a little bit. I mean, he's had a couple of good free agent moves and a couple of good drafts recently. But, he's still a guy that took the wide receiver from Baylor who bombed out here. He's still a guy who took, the wide receiver from Stanford, J.J.
Whiteside, yeah.
Yeah. He's had his share of misses in previous drafts. Now he's on quite a run, and he comes off a Super Bowl championship where the Eagles roster was just absolutely stocked. But I don't think, if you're going to look at the guys who run the teams, I mean, and again, I don't think you have to denigrate one to sort of pump up the other.
Sure.
I don't think to pump up Howie, you have to knock Dave Dombrowski. Dave Dombrowski is going to have a plaque in Cooperstown. And again, what impresses me.
I totally agree about that.
He's done it with more than one team.
Yeah. I'm just saying in terms of like the perception of the Phillies going into this season, it's borderlining Sixers. You know what I mean? Where it's like, all right, we got to get through this whole season and we'll see what happens in the postseason. Whereas with the Eagles, the vibe going into each season is always there's more juice from the fans. I'm not getting the same juice, Mike, from the Phillies fans.
Well, I think part of that is just the nature of the NFL and the 1 game a week thing. I mean, I hear a lot, and I think what you're kind of getting to here is the point that the Phillies just basically ran it back this year, right, with this core group. But what did you want them to do? Did you want them to trade Bryce Harper? Did you want them to trade Tate Turner? Did you want them to trade Kyle Schwarber? Do you want to see Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola in different uniforms? Should they have given up on JT Realmuto? Should they have traded Alec Boehm? I mean, these are very good players that have come out. Now, next year, this problem is going to solve itself because if the Phillies don't do well this season, and what's the definition of well? I mean, I think they would have to get to the NL Championship Series, basically, to me, for this season to be a success, right? They get to that Championship Series, and then you see what happens from there. But this core is not going to be back next year if that does not happen. And even if it does happen, it might not be back next year. So I understand that the Phillies are running it back, but they have an awful lot of good baseball players on this team. And again, what did you want? Do you want to trade Trey Turner? Do you want to trade Alec Boehm? Do you want to trade JT Realmuto? I mean, to me, that's almost a be careful what you wish for, because you're going to miss those guys when they're gone.
So Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. So my answer to your question is, you're right with everything you said. But my counter to that would be, it doesn't help when a guy like Bryce Harper turns to a guy like Ken Rosenthal and says, yeah, I was willing to move off at first base, but we could have gotten Pete Alonso. So now you're creating this idea in the fans' minds of what could have been, even if it's not realistic.
Well, Bryce, kind of is saying some stuff there. I don't know. What is he going to say in that situation to that question? And if you know anything about the Phillies payroll, I mean, it's really, they would have been in all sorts of luxury tax hell, basically, if they added another big salary. They couldn't do it, and they have enough big salaries around. I mean, they have a $300 million guy at shortstop. They have a $300 million guy at first base. They have a $100 million guy in right field. They have a $100 million designated hitter. They've got, $170 million pitcher in Nola. They've got a $200 million pitcher in Zach Wheeler. I understand that everybody wants, it's like Christmas morning, right? You want to wake up on Christmas morning, baseball opening day, and you want to go down and underneath the tree, you want to see a bunch of new presents down there. Well, on opening day, you're going down the tree, going down there, and there's not a lot of presents. There's Max Kepler and Jesus Luzardo underneath the tree. And I understand that's not the same as seeing Bryce Harper or Trey Turner or, Kyle Schwarber underneath the tree. But, some of the past Christmas presents that you've gotten still work. I mean, the bicycle you got for Christmas 2 years ago is still humming like a turbojet out there. Right. So I understand the disappointment maybe in the fact that, you're seeing they're basically running it back, but they're running it back with a really, really, really good baseball team. And there is a sense of urgency to it because this core, JT Realmuto's contract is up. Schwarber's contract is up. Do they stick with Stott if he has a disappointing year? If Boehm takes a step backwards, do they get rid of him? Ranger Suarez will be a free agent at the end of the season. So the change that people kind of clamor for is going to come at the end of the season, and depending on what result the season has will indicate how much change there is.
Mike, you mentioned about some of the guys who are still here. And I think the other question coming into this year was kind of amplified by the Phillies lineup today, which is they put Schwarber back in the leadoff spot for the spring training game this afternoon versus the Yankees, whereas for weeks we've been hearing about Turner in that leadoff spot. Is there any concern from you that the Phillies and Rob Thompson are waffling on the lineup?
I don't think so. I think Trey Turner is going to be in that leadoff spot when the season begins. But honestly, Josh, if you do projections and run the analytics with different lineups, the difference in the run produced by the lineups is really minuscule. And I don't get, to me, I don't really care who hits leadoff, Trey Turner or Kyle Schwarber. I think both can be effective at the job. I like Kyle Schwarber at the leadoff spot. For this matter, I think you're in the deep part of the pool right away. If you're the opposing pitcher, if you make a mistake to a lot of leadoff hitters, it might be a double up the gap. If you make a mistake to Kyle Schwarber, he's hitting the ball to Margate, right? And you're down 1-0, in the first inning. So I kind of and Trey Turner obviously has that. Although he doesn't have Schwarber's power, he has the ability to also hit the ball out of the ballpark and stuff like that. So to me, the debate over the lineup. I know we love the debate of who's going to bat leadoff. Schwarber's not a traditional leadoff hitter. It's all kind of eyewash, basically. If this team hits in October, if they get hot in October, like they did in 2022, they're going to win. If they don't get hot in October, or they go stone cold in October, like they did in 2023 and 2024, they're not going to win. And it's almost as simple as that.
Mike, you mentioned about the idea that what Turner and Schwarber are different. Is there a version of the lineup that we haven't seen or we haven't talked about that you would like to see, or do you think that for the most part the Phillies are kind of on the right track with the lineup for this year?
Well, I think they're on the right track with the lineup. The only thing, and I understand why they haven't done it, is I think Bryson Stott's got the potential to be a leadoff hitter. 2 years ago, if you had told me, at the end of the 23 season, who was going to be the Phillies leadoff hitter for 2025, I would have said Bryson Stott. But Bryson Stott took a huge step backwards last year. Now, was it the elbow injury? I don't know. We'll find out this year, but he certainly has not advanced the way everybody thought he would advance and did not seize that spot. So he deserves to stay down in the order. So that's one thing I'm kind of looking for this season. Bryson Stott is a key guy. He's in the crosshairs. Trey Turner is in the crosshairs. Those are guys we're going to be watching. Alec Bohm is in the crosshairs. Ranger Suarez is in the crosshairs. Those are the guys that we're going to be watching and really paying attention to on a day in and day out basis early in the season to see if they're the same guys from last year or whether they've improved from last year. Or in Suarez's case, is he going to be the guy who pitched in April, May, and the beginning of June last year who looked like Sandy Koufax? Or is he going to be the guy that we saw in July, August, and September who, basically had trouble getting through 5 innings?
Mike, it's interesting you said about Suarez because I know that Suarez made the comment this spring that he wants to stay with the Phillies forever and all that stuff. And there's still a part of me that looks at him, and I got to be honest with you, I look at him as a trade piece because I look at him as a guy when you get to the deadline that if he's not back to the Ranger Suarez that we know from the past and he's pitched well but not well enough, I wouldn't be against the Phillies using him to improve this team heading down the stretch.
Well, you have to look at a couple of factors there. First of all, I know he said this is where he grew up and this is where he wants to stay. But the first rule is watch what they do, not what they say. And he went out and hired Scott Boras as his agent, right. And that to me means he's testing free agency no matter what happens. And as far as him being a trade piece around the deadline, his contract is going to be up. I guess if the Phillies were out of it, you'd be trading Ranger Suarez. But look, if the Phillies are trading Ranger Suarez around the trade deadline, something horribly has gone wrong with the Phillies season because that would mean they're selling and not buying, and I don't think anybody would be happy with that.
So then if the Phillies were to get to the deadline, is there a guy then not named Ranger Suarez that you would view as a trade candidate if they're buying?
Well, nobody on the current team I think you would want to add. Maybe you'd be willing to give up some prospects depending on what you were going to do there. But, I certainly look at the current team right now, and you'd be looking to add to that core, not subtract from that core. So, yeah, is there a guy in AA or single A that you could trade to maybe get it, depending on what your needs are at the deadline? And I have a feeling, Josh, that they're going to need some bullpen guys at the deadline because every contender likes to refortify or fortify their bullpen at the deadline. And the one question I have about the Phillies this year is just depth in the bullpen. I don't think it's as deep as it was last year, and we'll see how they handle it going forward. They lost Estevez, they lost Hoffman. We'll see how they make up for those losses. They bring in Jordan Romano. We kind of all expect Orion Kirkland to maybe make a jump this season, but I have questions about that bullpen and how deep that bullpen is. And Matt Strom's had a little shoulder issues in spring training, and Jose Alvarado has looked great in spring training, but he has had stretches of his career where he's looked unhittable, and he's had stretches of his career where he hasn't been able to find the plate, and very often he's had those stretches in the same season. So we'll see how it unfolds with him this year.
All right, Mike, before I let you go, tournament next few days. You know, we got the games going on here on 97.3 ESPN. Does Mike McGarry have a team or teams that he's keeping an eye on that you're picking in your bracket? Like, what's Mike McGarry doing about the tournament?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love the tournament, right? Especially this first 4 days. I mean, the tournament, I love the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What's it, like 32 games in 4 days? I think that's the best part of the tournament. After that, you know, the tournament is still great when you get to the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight and the Final Four, but I love the action of these 4 days. This is what the NCAA tournament to me is really about. And looking at it, I know I subbed the University of Florida the other day, but then I went in and studied my brackets and looked at some things. And decided I like Houston, Josh. I like Houston over Maryland in the championship game, and I like a Final Four. I like Houston, I like Duke, I like Maryland, and I like Michigan State in the Final Four, and I like Houston to beat Maryland in that championship game. Watch out for this freshman on Maryland. He's an outstanding player, and I think Houston, you know, they've been around the Final Four the past couple of years. They've had a good team the last couple of years. I think this year they have the offense and the defense to kind of break through. So I like Houston over Maryland in the title game.
Well, hopefully that second guessing doesn't kill you in the long run. Mike McGarry from
You never know.
Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City.
Probably going to get me in the short run, Josh. In the short run. There you go. You know,
Right, exactly.
I'm
It'll be.
the type of guy I'll probably get eliminated from my bracket by Friday night at 6 o'clock.
I was
So
going to
there
say
you go.
Saturday morning you're just tearing the thing up. Yeah, right.
Exactly. You know.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you jumping on. We'll have the tournament on the next 2 days, so we will not hear from you again until Monday. So have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
All right, everybody, enjoy the tournament, and check out pressofac.com. We've got all our high school all-stars and stuff breaking this week, so lots of good stuff there, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for a few minutes.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike McGarry, joining us here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill live in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. And don't forget, coming up in about, maybe about like 6 minutes from now, your next opportunity to qualify for either Phillies opening day tickets, Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field, the big Phillies party, Maynard's and Margate, next Thursday. You could be a qualifier in attendance for a chance to win the tickets with Mike Gill and the Sports Bash, and that's coming up here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's back. It's Bennett Chevy's most popular event, March Markdowns, for the entire month of March. So get to Bennett right now for savings up to 20%. That's right, you get up to 20% off. That's because Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, plus gives you all the rebates. So get to Bennett Chevy now and save even more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's largest certified dealer with great savings on every single one. And during March Markdowns, you'll get a minimum 10 grand for the worst clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is the best. They're paid on your satisfaction, not your budget and how much you spend. So everybody gets our famous no pressure, friendly, and helpful service. Together, let's drive during March Markdowns at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
When it comes to finding great deals on suits, timing's everything. And now's the time, because Macy's semi-annual suit sale is here. Save 40 to 60% on new suits and blazers from Calvin Klein and Michael Kors, with performance suits starting at $99.99. And if you need advice on the perfect fit, Macy's free personal stylists are here at the store and ready to help. If you need a new suit, there's no time like the present, because the Macy's suit sale won't be back until the fall. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow. Provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tokogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames, because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster, which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control. Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
This is New Jersey Human Services Commissioner Sarah Edelman. Home health aides and direct support professionals are in high demand, and this important part of our workforce is essential in helping older adults and individuals with disabilities to live active, engaged lives. New Jersey Human Services can help connect you with jobs and training in these critical and rewarding fields. Make a difference in the lives of others while empowering your own future. Visit jobsthatcare.nj.gov today. That's jobsthatcare.nj.gov.
Listen to all the magic. March Madness is coming to 97.3 ESPN.
All right, you heard the sounder. That means we need callers number 6 and 7 right now. 609-573-3776. Call in now at 609-573-3776. Callers 6 and 7, you qualify to win tickets to see the Phillies home opener or Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field. Caller 6 and 7. Your chance to qualify. And then if you qualify, you must be present next Thursday at Maynard's in Margate. That's where Mike Gill and the Sports Bash will be broadcasting live from 2 to 6 p.m. Remember, call right now, 609-573-3776, 609-573-3776. And you are in for the big giveaway at Maynard's in Margate next Thursday with Mike Gill and the Sports Bash.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. All tournament long, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code RADIO100 to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
At NJM Insurance, we're like a symphony. It all starts by doing the right thing. Add in dedicated reps and put policyholders first. But no jingles or mascots because it's just not us. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation, but then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano, and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof, while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof and massaging leather-appointed seats are available features.
At Sturdy Savings Bank, they're making it easier for first-time homebuyers with up to $30,000 in grant assistance through the 2025 Homebuyer Dream Grant Program. Sturdy Savings Bank will provide professional guidance, mortgage options, and all the tools for your Homebuyer Dream Program grant of up to $30,000. Visit SturdyOnline.com. That's SturdyOnline.com. Subject to program eligibility and credit approval. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 410428.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hey, not to be dramatic, but you should smell this. Smells so good.
Whoa, that's quite the reaction to mixing and matching Gain scents. Let's hear another from Ashley, who mixed Gain products and went,
I'm so excited.
yes, you are. What about you, Isaiah?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And Emily summed it up like so.
It is just chef's kiss.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Mix, match, more happy with Gain.
New Jersey's got a lot of wow to go around all year round. Wow's on the slopes, on the waves, and on the stage. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
home of the Philadelphia Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
3 o'clock hour at the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on a Hump Day Wednesday edition of the Sports Bash. And, of course, the 3 o'clock hour is always being brought to you by Broadleys. Plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. Broadleys is your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call them at 609-390-3907 or visit them online at broadleys.net. Well, if you've been listening to 97.3 ESPN, you've heard me chat with Julio Sanchez III, who's making his debut this Saturday at Tropicana, Atlantic City. On Monday, we talked with Bruce Selden Jr. On Tuesday, we talked with Justin Figueroa. And today, we are talking with the man behind Boxing Insider Promotions, which has not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 undefeated New Jersey fighters on the card in action this Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Larry Goldberg, local guy, joining me right here in studio. Larry, how you doing today?
What's going on, Josh? Thank you so much for having me on.
So, really quick, before we get into any other details, I know for you, you're always busy, you're always running around. So, when I say to you, first card at Tropicana of 2025, what comes to your mind first?
I love that place. I was walking through it 2 days ago. Our posters are on the digitals. The people that work there love us. That we're bringing some excitement to the Tropicana because they hadn't done boxing in 7 or 8 years. It's my favorite place in town.
How crazy is it that place went so long without having anything in that boxing related in that room? I mean, you literally were the first one to put boxing in that room last year, and you did it not once, not twice, but 3 times. And that's not including what you did with the AC Power over there.
Well, I love this guy. Look, I love
Larry,
Tropicana.
I'm a professional.
You're very good. You're very good. Look, I love coming to Tropicana. I mean, I'm tempted to just make a joke about how bad some of the other promoters in town were, that they didn't come there. But the fact is, Tropicana is it's a great showroom because you've got the bleacher seats, which are the best seats in Atlantic City to see any type of fights. Although if you get a little older like we are, it does kind of hurt your back after a little while. I'm not going to lie.
A little stiff, yeah.
But like I said, it's a great environment. It tapes well for television, and I'm very excited to say that this will be the 3rd show in a row that we've had at Tropicana that will be internationally streamed on DAZN. And 3 weeks later, of course, there's a big fight over at Boardwalk Hall, and that too will be streamed on DAZN.
When you think about also the fact that Tropicana Showroom, DAZN, and as I mentioned, like I can't get over this. Multiple undefeated New Jersey fighters all on the same card. Like, as a guy from Ventnor Beach yourself, like, there's part of you that's looking around being like, is this even real?
Well, first off, Josh, it was Margate Beach.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
No, look, I mean, when I came here, and I told you guys this the first time I came into studio, I wanted to come in with a local kid. Like, if I was going to do this, I wasn't just going to, be one of these guys that brings in a bunch of guys from Philly or somewhere else. So we got linked up with Justin Figueroa, who is seriously like my favorite person in the world. He has the charisma, he has the look, he has, the talent, and he's going to be a huge star. He's going to be the one headlining the big room at Convention Center. And, so the first part was getting, linked up with him and his management team. And then we got hooked up with Jim Kurtz and his management team for Bruce Selden. And, this show, a lot of talk about Julio Sanchez and, a very popular kid from Pleasantville. And look, I mean, just like I was saying last time, that look, Atlantic City needs a star to believe in, and we've got Justin Figueroa for that. Pleasantville needs somebody, and you know what? I think Julio might fit a bill and be the kind of role model that would be very good for the Pleasantville community. So when we came out here, when you talk about having 6 undefeated New Jersey guys, I look at this a little differently, and the idea was I wanted to build up local boxing. If I never do another show ever again, I'm just thrilled that I got to be a big part of a few of these local kids' careers and hope that they're going to go on to the next level. I mean, Dana White and the TKO group with what they're doing in boxing and some of the other groups out there, my number one goal is to see all these guys one day sign with the bigger groups, because that's starting to happen on our New York cards, where some of the guys are getting picked up by the bigger companies.
Talk with Larry Goldberg from Boxing Insider Promotions this Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Tickets still on sale at Ticketmaster.com. You mentioned Justin Figueroa. This is now going to be the 4th time you're going to have him with you in the showroom competing. What is your perspective of him when you first met him to now watching him prepare for the 4th time fighting on one of these cards?
I mean, my perspective when I first met him was, I'd heard about him. I had not met him. So, my first interaction with Justin was kind of funny. He wanted to go pick up his tickets at the box office, and it was our first show at Tropicana too. And they were not expecting him, and I mean, they were ready to kill me, and I never forget that. And we did not, and but over time we've developed a friendship, and I really just enjoy working with him. And he's his entrances have gotten better. He's more, he's comfortable with how we do things at the Tropicana and with Boxing Insider. He's got a great management team, and because he's just been a thrill to work with. And my only regret is I won't be able to work with him forever, because he is this, like if you were to sit there and like build like an action figure of what the perfect fighter is, especially we want to build a local promotion. And I mean, the fact that you have someone from Atlantic City who literally represents everything that's good about that city is just, such a remarkable thing. And so that we got to build on him and then go to the PAL show last, was it November? And, that qualified the state for a grant. It raised a bit of money for the PAL. And it was, Justin was giving out these custom belts that we had done up to all the kids. It was a lot of, it was a really good community event. And what I'm most proud of is we're the first boxing promoter to come to town that isn't just bringing in a crowd from one night from Philly. The idea was to try to build the locals, and that comes with its own challenges. Some I can talk about on air, some I will not. But it's been the thrill of a lifetime. It's like I said, as someone who grew up on Margate Beach, to go to the Tropicana where I used to work as a kid, and then go to fights when all throughout my life, to actually be the guy promoting fights there. I always said we have to do this from a local point of view, and there are fighters here. We just have to develop them.
We haven't named him yet, but I got to ask you about Cali Box, because first of all, I want to know, and I was joking with somebody, is that his real name?
That is his real name.
Okay.
That is his real name.
Because I was talking with somebody about that. They're like, is that really his name?
No,
or did
yeah.
he change his name like
No,
Ron Artest
that's
or
his
something?
real name. Give a shout out to Manny Rivera from Hard Hitting Promotions. They do fights here sometimes. They just did one at Resorts back in September with the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. He's Manny Rivera's guy. I met with Manny Rivera and Ray McCline from the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame a few months ago, and I said to him, I'm like, look, I want to work with the other promoters. I want Cali Box on our show. And Manny was a gentleman, and we made a deal, handshake deal right there. We had a fighter, Victor Pradas. It's a good fight. It's for him. It's a 50-50 kind of fight. And Cali Box is a local kid he's from New Jersey. I don't know how local we would call him, but yeah, I'm very excited to have him on the card.
Well, I mean, it's Tom's River area, so it's close enough.
That is close enough.
It's we can get.
I'm not looking at his. I don't remember exactly where he's from. I know he trains over at Gladiator Boxing with Sean Darling and those guys. So I know that he's in a tough gym. He's a tough guy, and like I said, he's fought once or twice in Atlantic City before, and I like the idea of fostering a working relationship with Hard Hitting Promotions, Manny, and everybody. So we're excited to feature him on the card.
we can debate for another day if that's Central Jersey or North Jersey, or that's all a fiasco for some people. But that's not for today's conversation. How about the young man from Berlin? Okay, Damian Tenerello, is that how you say his name?
So it's one of these stories that I almost want to come back next week and tell you the whole story as it finishes. So Damian is in the Air Force. He has a big contingent of people coming in. He is 4-0. He's a knockout artist. He's we're very excited to have him on the card. And yeah, I mean, he's just one of those young New Jersey prospects that's, been out there. And when we were kind of putting this card together, he was one of the first names that, we reached out to. He had the same manager of another local fighter. And it's just like, let's do it.
Berlin, New Jersey is where he's based out of. So we know that he also is another one of these South Jersey regional guys that's on the card this Saturday. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Let's full circle it back here. I chatted with Julio Sanchez III on Friday and his dad. Just a great family story, if nothing else. I mean, it's not every day you have a father and son who are both in the same sport, and now the dad is coaching the son. And this ain't like a Mayweather thing where it's any of that kind of be. I think this is a legitimate, father and son connection in the boxing.
So the father, and we haven't talked about him yet, is Bruce Seldon Jr.'s trainer. And I've gotten to know him since our first, I met Julio at our first show. I popped in blindly at the Pleasantville Recreation Center, with posters and free tickets for the boxing program. And, Julio welcomed me with open arms because they're really, he had told me at the time there hadn't been a boxing promoter walking there in years. And I come bearing gifts, and they were very nice people. Then I find out.
So you're Santa Claus.
I'm Santa Claus. Julio is running for mayor of Pleasantville. And I'm like, really? And so I went on the GoFundMe page, and I literally left, and I made a donation to his mayor campaign. I was so excited. And so I got to meet Julio, and, we become friendly, and I like him a lot. And we've dealt with him on our, the second and third card that we did in Tropicana with Bruce Seldon. And then he calls me up a couple months ago and he says, look, we had Julio on the show, in the PAL show, and he had the loudest crowd. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. At the PAL show, he had a group of 15, 20 people sitting in the front row, and they all just rushed the ring, and they started going like this to the ring, and everyone was kind of nervous. He had a huge crowd, and he won a belt, and he was the star of the amateur show.
Right.
And so Julio calls me up and says, look, I wanted to, if I'm going to develop him as a boxer, it's just as much work to develop him as a pro as it is as an amateur. What do you think about him going pro on this show? I said I couldn't say yes quick enough. The only argument that I had with Julio was whether or not his son as a pro debut was the final match or the second to final match. That's the only that was the only thing that we were debating. It will be neither. And it just kind of came together. We found a good durable opponent, and it'll be a good test to see where he's at. And we're very excited to put a Pleasantville local kid on the show. I know that they brought a good crowd in, and I was just talking to Julio as I was walking in. We're going to be donating some tickets to the fighters over at Pleasantville Rec that are also going to come see him, and it's going to be a fun community event for everybody.
Last but not least, Bruce Seldon Jr. back on the cards again with you at Tropicana. I got to tell you, I think, and just from speaking to Bruce, because we had him on Monday, between his last fight and this one, I think he's done some maturing.
Oh, yeah.
I got to just be upfront with you. I was telling him, I said, the growth of him as a human being may be the biggest benefit to him as a boxer at this point.
Well, I didn't know him before. My first time interacting with him, we were they were doing another radio feed there, and I sat next to him. I said, Bruce, you're going to find this interesting, but when we were kids, my friends and I used to prank call your dad, because remember we used to have the white pages, and he was local. His dad was Bruce Seldon Sr., the Atlantic City Express. So after school, every once in a while, we would pick up the phone book, and we'd call Bruce, and we would just talk boxing with him. And his mother looks at me. She goes, "That was you guys?" Now, I'm convinced that there was other people that did the same thing. And he would sit on the phone and talk to us for hours about boxing. And it was a really cool guy. So Bruce came and he fought once and twice on our show. And, he's definitely matured, both as a boxer. I didn't know him before, but he's definitely come out of his shell a lot. He's got a good team behind him. He's a human wrecking machine. He looks like an action figure. And, and then we were doing this is actually kind of funny. We were doing the posters for the second show, and they didn't know what to call him, and I just said, "He's the Atlantic City Express 2.0." And I just put it on the poster. I told Jim Kurtz, and no one really thought anything of it. And Bruce just came up to me and goes, "Yeah, why is everyone calling me 2.0?" Now his mother calls him 2.0. And, I'm very excited that we got to brand him AC Express 2.0 and help brand Justin Figueroa, who I also would like to point out is the final match, the main event of the evening. DAZN is featuring, one of the reasons we got televised is we're also featuring an international superstar, Vlad Penin, who is a 21-1 fighter from Los Angeles. And he's fighting a former Olympian in sort of like a jump up fight. They're being, like I said, some of these guys are being that we use are being looked at by other promotions and stuff of that nature. And, so that was sort of how the sausage gets made a little bit, where we were able to put a local card on national television. And that's sort of, and this will be, like I said, our third show in a row streamed on DAZN. We're going to be at Tropicana for our fourth time. Hopefully we have a few more dates that we're going to be announcing later on this year at the Tropicana. I love promoting in Atlantic City. I love being part of the community, and I want to do something special. But I want to build this promotion here long-term around guys like Justin. And I'm going to tell you, nothing will make me happier than when I'm here listening that Justin's headlining on an Eddie Hearn card at the convention center. We're not one of these promoters that's trying to hold him back. My deal with all these fighters is just a handshake. I'm not a promoter that's trying to lock them into a long-term deal in exchange for the slots, which I can tell you that the other promotions, they do that. And it was very important for us to create a platform for these guys to flourish. And if that means I miss out on this X, Y, and Z, you know what? That's fine. But Justin is Justin's the guy to look for, and definitely the guy to watch in Atlantic City over the next few years.
Well, this card is going to be absolutely action-packed. I'm totally looking forward to being there this Saturday. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. He is Larry Goldberg from Margate.
That's right.
Not Ventnor.
The mean streets of Margate, I tell people in New York.
All right, now don't get carried away over there, okay?
Well, that's what we tell people. The mean streets of Margate, because they have no idea. They always say the same thing. Is that Margate, Florida? I'm like, oh. like nobody knows what Margate is. That's like the joke of the whole thing.
Right, that's true. Yeah, it's like you say, where's your studio located? Oh, we're outside of Atlantic City. Oh, okay. Yeah. You actually tell people we're in Northfield. Most people are like, where?
Hell, behind what used to be Party Poopers.
Well, now it's a nail salon. Yeah. But
I remember Party Poopers.
I was gonna say that thing's been like 5 different things over the last 30 years.
It'll always be Party Poopers.
Is that for you? No. Larry Goldberg joining us here in the studio. Larry, before I let you go, any final points you want to hit on with the card this Saturday?
No, like I said, this is a fun, card for anyone in town. We tickets are starting at $40 plus fees. So with the Ticketmaster fees, it's about $50 for the cheap seats, and they go up to whatever. But it was important that we priced it low. I really want the community to come. I really want this to be a community event to do local boxing and bring in people. If the community supports it, we're going to come back a few more times this year. If not, Josh, it was nice knowing you. I'll see you on the beach.
Right, exactly.
But this is, like I said, this will be a really good card. I'm really excited to see Justin fight. I'm really excited to see Bruce Seldon and Julio and Vlad and everyone. And like I said, we're going to be internationally televised on DAZN. And it's going to be, like I said, a good night for Atlantic City boxing, and it's going to lead to it's helped lead to the big fight over Convention Center a few weeks later, the Boots fight, and other events are going to come to Atlantic City. And part of it is, we helped put Atlantic City boxing back on the map last year, and I love it. And I think we need more, and we're going to have more and more boxing come to Atlantic City over the next 6 months to 2 years.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the rolling effect, because last weekend we had the MAC tournament in Atlantic City that took over the city. So it's like hey, you had one big event one weekend, the next weekend, boom, here's boxing, local boxing for you. It's kind of like, if they roll off of each other in the city.
Like boxing is, like I said, all they got to do is set up the ring and we bring in the fighters. It's like the circus. We come to town and, we can put on the fights. Again, I mean, we could bring in, I didn't want to be like one of the other promoters that come in and it's just a bunch of Philly people. Like I really, no offense to anybody, but I really, like I said, I wanted to do something for New Jersey. And like I said, from the Police Athletic League, which was local, which we've donated tickets to the coaches there as well. And some of the other stuff that we're doing, it's, we are a local promotion and that's very important to me. And, as far as building this as a local business.
And again, this Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Tickets on sale now. Ticketmaster.com. He is Larry Goldberg. Larry, appreciate you jumping in the studio.
I appreciate you so much.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Still to come, we have Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joining us in less than 10 minutes from now. Football at 4, Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast. Knicks Nuggets joins us coming up at 4:30. Ryan Rothstein for Rye or Cy. And don't forget our Phillies mailbag at 5:30. All that and more still to come, as well as your texts. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are live streaming on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. And on top of all of that, don't forget, we have another chance for you to qualify to win Phillies home opener tickets, as well as Metallica and Lincoln Financial Field tickets coming up in about 34 minutes from now.
Listen to all the madness. March Madness is coming to 97.3 ESPN.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes strippers and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's back. It's Bennett Chevy's most popular event, March Markdowns, for the entire month of March. So get to Bennett right now for savings up to 20%. That's right, you get up to 20% off. That's because Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, plus gives you all the rebates. So get to Bennett Chevy now and save even more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's largest certified dealer with great savings on every single one. And during March Markdowns, you'll get a minimum $10,000 for the worst clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is the best. They're paid on your satisfaction, not your budget and how much you spend. So everybody gets our famous no pressure, friendly, and helpful service. Together, let's drive during March Markdowns at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Accomplishing goals is hard. But when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist, clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Sponsored by Armstrong Pharmaceuticals.
Prime Sports has arrived. The only sports book where you can lay -108 instead of -110 on all your favorite teams. Why would you risk more to win the same amount on another sports book? I have no idea. Download the Prime Sports New Jersey app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit with up to $400 in bonus bets.
Terms and conditions apply. Real money wagers equal to deposit plus bonus required before withdrawal. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ziprecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on your every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry...
The 80s Rock Tour, featuring hits from Foreigner, Journey, and Asia, is coming to Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City on May 16th. Relive the glory days with legendary artists Lou Graham, Steve Augeri, and John Payne, performing all of their hits, including I Want to Know What Love Is and Don't Stop Believing. Tickets are available at theoceanac.com. Don't miss out on the ultimate 80s rock experience at Ocean Casino Resort. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN, the 3 o'clock hour being brought to you by Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Broadleys is your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call them at 609-390-3907 or visit them online, broadleys.net. Usually, if you are listening to Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN, you know, each and every week I am joined by Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, and he was kind enough to join us earlier today as I am filling in for Mike Gill here in a Hump Day Wednesday edition of The Bash here on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle and live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. And Rob Maaddi joins us now on the phone line because, Rob, as you know, the NFL, there's really no downtime. The news cycle is constantly churning. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well, man. And yeah, you're right. Never stops. Constantly churning. Always something new. Always something interesting. And even when there isn't, sometimes some folks like to manufacture news, or however it may be. Right?
Does the Lions rule proposal count as manufacturing news?
That to me was interesting. No, because the proposals were formally given to the NFL, and all of that came out today, and the NFL sends it. I love when the NFL sends that email out, and then I look and see, well, who proposed what? And I thought that one was kind of interesting because the Vikings, you would think, should have proposed it because they lose that game and end up the 5 seed, even though they have the second best record. So it was the Lions, who weren't impacted, who proposed that. I actually don't like that rule. I think something, if you win the division, you should be rewarded for winning the division, and I'm fine with it being status quo, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next best wild card. The wild card teams should be 5, 6, 7, but we'll see how the owners feel. It's got to be 24 out of 32 votes for to be implemented.
Now, for those who didn't see it, so the full breakdown, you can go to Rob Maaddi's Twitter, at Rob Maaddi, and I jokingly retweeted your tweet, Rob, with the famous wind horse, what's going on here, GIF. But, on a more serious note, what is going on here? Like, what is the reasoning why a team would say, hey, instead of having all the division winners get home games, let's have the teams with the best record get home games? Because when you break it down, Rob, that would mean, as you said, the Vikings would have had a playoff home game, and a team like the Tampa Bay Bucks would have been on the road.
Yeah, and now I got to look back. Would the Vikings have been the 2 or the 3? No, the Eagles still would have been the 2.
Eagles still would have been the 2 because they had strength of victory.
Yeah. So Vikings would have been, but they still would have been a 3-6 seed, right? So it's to benefit the teams who have the best record. I think the proposal came from the Lions because they were, even though they were the 1 seed, so it's not like they were crying about it. They feel like, hey, that could have easily been us if we lost that game. Final game of the season, we had dropped from being a 1 seed all year long to suddenly we're the 5 seed, go on the road, no home game, first round of the playoffs. So they must feel strongly about giving all the teams with the best records, all the home games. And there's been years, right, where a division winner was the 4th seed getting a home game at 8-9 or 8-8, or in the year 2020 when the Washington, were they the Redskins then or the football team then? Whatever.
I think they were the football team at that point.
They were the football team. They finished 7-9 and got a home game. So I can understand the reason for that, the logic behind that, reward the teams with the best record. But I think sometimes you play in a division that might be suppose you play in a division that's tough and it's one of the better divisions, and now you've got 4 teams. You got to go through your division that's 6 games, and you're playing a schedule against an AFC or whatever the other conference will be, if it's the AFC team with the better division, and you're playing a weaker non-conference schedule, and you come out of your division at 10-7, even though you went 3-3 in a difficult division, should you be punished for not having one of the top 4, or come out at 9-8? I still feel like you got to reward you go through the division, you win your division. That's just the way it goes sometimes. And if you're good enough to be a Super Bowl contender, you should be able to either win your division or go on the road. There's been teams that have been wild card. There were the Buccaneers were the 5 seed when they won the Super Bowl in 2020. There have been teams who were just off the top of my head, the Packers were back then. It was the 6th seed the last time they won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. So there have been teams, the Giants, when they dethroned the Patriots, one of the 2 times, I think they were a 6th seed. So you got to go on a road, get it done, make it happen. But that's just one of the interesting proposals today, right, Josh? Of course, we've known about the tush push and the Packers wanting to ban that, and that became officially official when the NFL puts out its the full list of rule changes that are going to be voted upon later this month.
Yeah, well, the Packers just look like idiots. I mean, making that rule proposal, they just look like they're sour. It's like, oh, we can't stop it, so we're trying to stop you. That's why I preferred to go to the standings one, because I think that one was more interesting. For those who are wondering, the playoff matchups, if this rule was in place last year, Rob, for the audience out there who are listening, it would have been Rams at Eagles in the first round, Bucks at Vikings in the first round, and the Packers would have had to go to Washington in the first round. So almost a similar set of matchups in a couple different scenarios. And then other scenarios, you still would have had a situation, Rob, where if everything went chalk, the Lions still would have played Washington in the second round.
and still would have lost, right?
Right.
So yeah, and that that's not the only proposal too out of the Lions. They proposed that illegal contact and defensive holding penalties would not give the offense an automatic first down.
Right.
So that's a little interesting too. Lions were full of proposals. They had another one that players and the players that put on injured reserve before on the day that rosters are cut to 53 shouldn't count on the 90-man roster limit unless they will be dead. Like then that's just like minor stuff. But it's always interesting to me who the teams are that are proposing what and what comes out of it. I don't think the tush-push issue I don't think the tush-push is going to get the necessary 24. I don't think the playoff seeding is going to get the necessary 24 either.
Talking with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, joining us here on 97.3 ESPN, AP senior NFL writer and reporter. Rob, obviously in this area, it's Eagles season 24/7, and Brandon Graham's retirement yesterday definitely is huge news. What were your thoughts on BG making it official that he's retiring? I thought he said a lot of interesting things, the presser yesterday, including how he said, he fell in love with the city, he fell in love with the fans. He talked about how his faith in God was the reason why he was able to get through the first chunk of years here in Philadelphia. It was a very sincere and heartfelt, retirement speech from BG yesterday.
And that's who BG is. I've been fortunate to cover his entire career. I remember, and I've told this story before, Josh, I just remember the day he was drafted in 2010, and he comes in the next day for the interview with the reporters, meet the media, and I still haven't to this day seen anyone do what he did. After he did his interview, he walked up to, shook hands with, and introduced himself to each media member who was there for his introductory news conference. And BG was a guy who is always sincere, always smiling. Like you always saw an infectious smile on Brandon Graham's face. And he was a guy that gave all of his energy out on that field, was hilarious, talking trash on the field. And he was the same way in the locker room, just a fun guy to be around, entertained his teammates, entertained the media, one of the most approachable guys you'll ever meet in the business. And what a great way for him to go out as a Super Bowl champion and to come back and be able to play in that game, although he got re-injured. But to be a Super Bowl champion, go out on top, and the way he did it, I think all his career, right, spent in one city with one team. He'll transition certainly into a media opportunity. Now he can say whatever he wants without getting in trouble. he won't be on the team anymore. And boy, I'm sure BG knows some secrets that haven't been revealed, but just one of the most likable guys you'll ever meet in sports. He's that kind of personality, easy to root for, easy to like and enjoy and get to know. And it was great to see how there were points in his career where he said it before, how he thought that he wasn't going to make it, he was going to be cut, and he couldn't adapt to what Chip Kelly and the new regime wanted at that time, or it wasn't going to fit in. And then he kind of resurrected his career and had some great seasons and finally made a Pro Bowl, and obviously will forever be remembered for the strip sack on Tom Brady to kind of seal the Eagles' first ever Super Bowl. Like when you think of Super Bowl, Eagles first win, first play, everyone is always going to point to is Nick Foles' Philly special catching the touchdown pass. But outside of that, it's Brandon Graham and the strip sack. Those are the two plays everyone talks about when you think about the Eagles' first ever Super Bowl victory. So just a great guy, a great family man, and had many an opportunity to sit down and chat with BG. So always appreciated him.
By the way, Rob, for the audience who doesn't know, because I got to watch the whole presser, BG did what you mentioned earlier. He went and shook everyone's hand before he went up there. He went to all the media people there. He shook their hands. He was thanking all of them. It's funny, Rob. You said he started his career.
He did it yesterday too.
Yes,
he did it. So he did it to start his career and end his career. How about that?
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Wouldn't expect anything less from BG. That's impressive.
Rob, now with BG gone though, the Eagles defense just got a heck of a lot younger. Like, they were already one of the youngest defenses in the NFL, and now it's like, I think the oldest guy right now is Zach Bond, if you go into the season right now. And, I'm not saying these young guys can't be leaders, Rob. I'm not saying they can't step up, but there is a part of me that's looking at the free agency. We saw what Justin Simmons said, that his preferred destination would be come to Philadelphia and reunite with Fangio. I see a guy's name like Von Miller out there. Personally, I like to see the Eagles bring both of those guys in, because I don't think you can ever have enough veteran guys in a locker room, no matter how talented the other guys are.
Yeah, and obviously it'll depend on salary cap and their ability to fit them in, and how he knows how to do that, and how he knows how to go out and bring in star quality players or guys maybe who have had their best years elsewhere and bring them in at some point, right? And we saw that a few years ago with Julio Jones. Von Miller is interesting because I think both Von Miller and Justin Simmons still have some good football left in them. And Von Miller is a guy who's won a Super Bowl. Justin Simmons hasn't been on a whole lot of winning teams in his career, but he's a great quality player, leader in the locker room. And Von Miller's had some issues at some points in his career, but it depends. Like, I thought a great pickup, Josh, was just the other day, Azeez Ojulari, picking him up, a young player with some upside who can get to the quarterback, can kind of give you a little bit of that edge rush that you need. 6 sacks last year. I think he was only played 11 games, and maybe he might have been 392 snaps. So he wasn't out on the field a whole lot, and he still was able to get 6 sacks. So I don't know that the Eagles are at a point where they're not desperate for leadership because they've won and they've got guys who've been through it, who understand what it takes. Yes, Slay's gone, BG's gone, CJ, GJ is gone, and they were all older players. But I think some of the guys that like Reed Blankenship, some of the other guys, whether it's Jordan Davis, who's been around for a few years now, and Jalen Carter, they've got to step up and take that next phase of their career, not just performance on the field, but kind of dive into more of and assume more of a leadership role. And sometimes some guys are natural leaders and some guys aren't, but if there's an opportunity to add someone who can bring that to the locker room, I wouldn't put it past Howie. He's always going to, as he says, kick the tires on everybody who's available and everybody out there. But this, to me, is a team that's still set up to kind of not only compete, but to compete for a Super Bowl. And they've got the pieces in place, and there's a long way to go with all the draft picks that they have. They're certainly not going to be picking in the spots that they have all of these picks. Howie will be moving some things around, and there's always some veterans out there that he may take a shot on.
Couple more for Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press before we let him go. I got to get your reaction to the Mary Kay Cabot report earlier today. Former Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, reportedly him and the Browns have mutual interest if the Browns don't sign Russell Wilson. And, of course, another former Eagles quarterback, Kenny Pickett, is already in Cleveland. Talk about a triangle there, right, Rob? You have two guys potentially who were backup quarterbacks on Super Bowl championship teams with the Eagles could potentially be the week one quarterback room for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, interesting. And kind of also there's some of the teams are going to put some pressure on. Carson's also going to be in the mix for the Minnesota Vikings because they're looking for a veteran, and more than likely, the report obviously came out today that they're not going to target Aaron Rodgers. So Carson would seem to me an ideal fit with the Vikings too as well because they have J.J. McCarthy. He's also, I think he grew up a Vikings fan in North Dakota, so kind of would be ideal for him. But he wants to go where he's got an opportunity to play and where he's wanted to play football. If I'm the Browns, they got that number 2 pick and the potential to get somebody there if they want. I don't know how strongly they feel about Shedeur Sanders if they're considering Russell Wilson, they're looking at Carson, they need another veteran, they still got Deshaun Watson and that horrific contract that they've got to deal with. If the Falcons at some point decide, all right, we will trade Kirk Cousins, they got to certainly be interested in his relationship with Stefanski in Cleveland. Makes sense. But if it's Carson Wentz and Kenny Pickett battling it out for the starting job for the Browns in training camp, that would be a very Cleveland Browns-esque, Josh.
I mean, if that's the case, we need Hard Knocks. You know what I mean? I mean, we need we need the HBO NFL film cameras for that. I mean, just because, I mean, those. I mean, talk about two guys who are very, for lack of a term, very meek and mild, to put it one way. You know, like they're both competitive athletes, but like their personalities are not very aggressive, Rob, outside the football field. And just can you imagine those two guys in the quarterback room just like softly talking to each other? Like they have to turn up the volume for them.
That would have to be the next Netflix quarterback series. You saw that. This year it's going to be, that
was for those who didn't see it, it was a great trailer because they made it like the next season is going to be about mascots. And Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff were like, wait, what? No. Well, and they made it like they like agreed to, you know, you want to do it? You want to do it? Yeah, we'll do it. I love the trailer. It was so much fun.
It's funny that they had to go back and get Kirk again because nobody else wanted to do it. He was in season 1 of quarterback, and then they did receiver because they couldn't get, and then they had to go back and get Kirk again for the quarterback series. So he's fun to watch. He's fun to do it. I certainly don't think they'll be getting or dispatching their video crew, Omaha Productions, to Berea, Ohio.
They might
chronicle.
They might. I mean,
Carson Wentz or Kenny Pickett.
Omaha Productions is Peyton Royal. We're all just living in it, right, Rob?
Yeah. Hey, Carson just needs another opportunity. He's still. You know what? Well, I'll just let it go out there and see what can happen. But when you look around and you see some of the quarterbacks who continue to get some shots, and some teams go with certain guys. I think if you can bring in a quarterback who can give you 27-9, 4, 5, 6 times in his career, or 29-7, or whatever those numbers are, those averages are, it's worth a shot. And we've seen reclamation projects, right? Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. Funny how the Carolina Panthers had both Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold a couple of years ago in 2022, and both of them get big contracts and elsewhere.
NFL, it's a very, very interesting place to say the least, and the man who covers it all year long is Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, at Rob Maaddi on the Twitter X platform, and of course, Faith on the Field, heard Saturday and Sunday mornings right here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, I always appreciate you jumping on. I enjoy the conversation. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, my friend. Keep up the great work.
Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We'll get to more football talk still to come. Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. Knicks Nuggets at 4:30, all that the next hour. But coming up on the other side, your next opportunity to qualify to win Phillies opening day home opener tickets or tickets to see Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field. Josh Hennig hanging out with you, filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Keep your ears open for that sounder still to come.
This is the home of the Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles fans, St. Louis, and rejoice.
97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
Score a huge three-pointer this month during the Matt Blatt Kia Gladness Sale. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, or low 1.9% financing for 60 months on every new Kia Sportage and Sorento SUV in stock. Here's a steal. Get up to $5 grand more than Kelly Blue Book fair market value for any trade. For the purchase of any new 2024 Kia with no payments till June. How about a 3-point play? 0 down, 0 payments until June on over 1,100 new Kias in stock, or low 1.9% financing for 60 months, plus 120% more for your trade. It's Gladness, baby, at Matt Blatt Kia in Abington, Egg Harbor Township, and Tom's River, or right to your front door.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, $1,389 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payments. Offers can't be combined. Trade less miles and dealer recon on new 2024 Kia purchase. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details, or 888-505-6870. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 4/4/25. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Tom's River.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy,
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-506-3355. 800-506-3355.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing. Oh, hey. More like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up.
tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Same game parlays and slot games for days. Double the fun with the Bally Bet app. Let's play. You can bet on football, basketball, baseball, or play blackjack, roulette, even baccarat, y'all. It's double the fun, 2 apps in one. Download it today, but only if you're 21. The Bally Bet Sportsbook and Casino app. You can win real money on your phone. No cap. Must be 21 plus, New Jersey only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Bally Bet Sportsbook and Casino.
Download it. Listen to all the madness. March Madness is coming to 97.3 ESPN.
You heard the sounder. That means I need callers 6 and 7 at 609 573 3776 609 573 3776. Caller 6 and 7. You are in for this year's 99. Sorry. Wrong contest. No, opening day of the baseball season. Maynard's in Margate, where you have a chance to win Phillies home opener tickets or Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field tickets. Maynard's in Margate. Next Thursday, Mike Gill and the Sports Bash will be broadcasting live from 2 to 6 p.m. And you can win one of these great prizes, but you must be callers 6 and 7 right now. 609-573-3776. Coming up next, Football at 4, Geoff Mosher, the Inside the Birds podcast. 97.3 ESPN.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is New Jersey's full-time reduced juice sportsbook. Download the Prime Sports New Jersey app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit with up to $400 in bonus bets.
Terms and conditions apply. Real money wagers equal to deposit plus bonus required before withdrawal. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is South Jersey's radio home for the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers. WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. Football at 4, as always, being brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll check in with Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds pod in just a couple minutes. He'll be joining us. And, you know, it's already been an interesting week for the Philadelphia Eagles, a week that included the giving of Lane Johnson another reworked contract extension, right? Brandon Graham's retirement. You're talking about an Eagles team that is bringing in guys like Azeez Ojulari. You know, this is a offseason that Howie Roseman promised it would be different than in years past. Well, he certainly is not disappointed, to say the least. Howie has done yeoman's work in years past, and you know, obviously, if you were listening in the 2 o'clock hour, you know I disagreed with what Mike McGarry had to say from the press of Atlantic City, because for me, when I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I see an organization that even when they make mistakes, they're not mistakes that have kept them from being successful. I think that's a big part of this conversation, is that the Philadelphia Eagles are not an organization that has put themselves in a position where when they make a mistake, it prevents them from continuing to be successful. Just because you were burdened with the Bryce Huff contract last year, it did not prevent the Eagles from it didn't prevent the Eagles from winning a championship, right? It didn't prevent them from building a championship roster. You know, people love to bring up the mistakes that Howie Roseman has made. Jalen Reagor, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, just to name two, right? But you could argue if you don't make those two mistakes, you don't end up with the team you have now. Sometimes in life, you got to fall down before you can get back up. And I think that is what is frustrated me about some of the other teams in the city, and that is when they make mistakes, it becomes like an albatross, becomes like a big anvil hanging around their neck, and they're completely unable to adjust. To me, what makes Howie Roseman who he is, what makes Howie the general manager that he has become today, is that every mistake he has made, he has learned and he has grown from it. Listen, for every J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor you want to point to, there's also a Devonta Smith that you can point to, right? For every Matt Pryor he got wrong, there's a Landon Dickerson and a Jordan Mailata he got right. If we spend our entire time nitpicking everything how we got wrong, we're going to ignore the fact that he himself is a future Hall of Fame executive. And I'm not blindly trusting Howie. You've heard me numerous times here on 97.3 ESPN. I have said again and again and again and again, Howie Roseman deserves a level of latitude to get this right. And for as much as I look at the Eagles and I say, I want some veterans here. I want to have some guys who are going to fit certain molds, right? I want some guys who are going to check some boxes for me, okay? It doesn't mean that if they don't check those boxes, the Eagles are doomed, right? Which is also the beauty of the Eagles, which is this is an organization that has entrusted everyone in the organization to do their job. And I don't care who you are. You go to a Super Bowl 3 times over an 8-year period, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You know, I'm not giving Andrew Berry that same benefit of the doubt. You know, Brad Holmes, he better get his team back to an NFC Championship game or he's going to be running out of rope at some point. You know, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan get a lot of latitude because they've been in 2 Super Bowls in the last 6 years. You give these guys latitude because they've shown you a certain level of accomplishment, a certain level of success. And so, for me, that is why I look at the Philadelphia Eagles and I say about them, if you are a team in Philadelphia and you're not looking at the Eagles and trying to figure out what they do and how you can do it, well, I'm not sure what else to tell you, because I don't care how good Daryl Morey, Dave Dombrowski, or Danny Briere have historically been or what they have or haven't done at their jobs. I don't think it's any small coincidence that if you are the Philadelphia Eagles, you are the gold standard in Philadelphia. And I understand baseball doesn't have a salary cap. And I understand that the NFL salary cap is different than hockey and basketball. But there are business practices that those teams execute that the other teams, I think, can learn from. Part of it being, how do I keep my fan base engaged to the point where they are excited? Now, yes, it's a football city. Everyone loves the Eagles, okay? I totally understand that. But the reality is, as we progress through the offseason, I am going to trust Howie to figure this out than I am going to trust anyone else. And when you think about this offseason so far, the only positions I am personally worried about how they're going to fill, and we'll ask Geoff Mosher more about this when he joins us in a couple minutes here on 97.3 ESPN. To me, there's two positions that the Eagles might not be. Okay, one of them definitely they can't fill through the draft. The second one, I'm assuming they won't fill through the draft just because of their history. The two positions that they need to fill before the start of training camp that they can't fill through the draft. Number one, the Eagles don't have a history of drafting safeties. They just don't, okay? The organization has not invested draft capital historically into the safety position. Even Reed Blankenship was an undrafted free agent, okay? So I'm not anticipating they are getting a safety in this draft, and frankly, they don't need to either because they just drafted Sidney Brown a few years ago, and they probably want to see what he can do. So I don't assume they're going to replace CJ GJ with a rookie. That's why I say, if Justin Simmons wants to be here, hey, Justin, come on down. Let's see what you got. Let's not just hand the job to Sidney Brown or Tristan McCollum. The other position you cannot fill through the draft is another veteran in the locker room. You have now had Brandon Graham retire this year. Last year was Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey. One of the most important moves for the 2017 Eagles is when they brought in Chris Long and LeGarrette Blount. You were bringing in two guys who have won championships, two guys who were big-time college prospects at one point, two guys who could walk into a locker room and had a level of cachet, a certain level of respectability that you don't have right now. If there's a bad day at the office, who's going to be the veteran that stands up in that room and says, hey, everybody, listen up. I got something to say. To me, I think they still need that kind of guy because in 2017, guys like Chris Long and Malcolm Jenkins were huge parts of that team's success. Last year, you saw the importance of bringing C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. You saw Big Play Slay step up in the locker room on a personal level with these guys. You saw Brandon Graham, even when injured, continue to be a veteran presence in that locker room. So for me, I look at this team and I see a lot of youth. They were already one of the youngest teams going into last season. Why on earth would I want to... Again, I get it. They won a championship last year. But having a veteran who's been there, done that, everybody needs that person to hold them accountable to help make them better. We all have people in our lives who have to correct us, who have to put us on the right path. And unless Nakobe Dean has a miraculous heel and he is going to ascend that guy in this locker room, I don't see a guy currently in this locker room that can be what they need. And that's why I would love to see a guy like Von Miller brought in for a one-year deal. Tell Von, look, this is your job. You're coming in here to be the Chris Long guy. Because at the end of the day, you don't have a dude right there in that locker room that guys are going to look at and listen to right now in the same way they did for Slay, Brandon Graham. Now, is that guy maybe Zach Bond? Maybe. I mean, that's what Matt and Kate May is saying at 609-403-0973 on the text board. He's saying Zach Bond is the middle linebacker. He has experience. He is now a Super Bowl champion. He plays that position. He is known as the quarterback of the defense. The Eagles have learned how to win, and now all those guys have experience on that defense. That's Matt and Kate May. I don't deny Zach Baun's value in leadership to this team. I don't deny that at all, Matt K-May. But what I'm saying is that to me, that's not enough. Because you saw what happened in years past with the Eagles when they didn't have veteran leadership, when they let some of those guys leave and they didn't fully replace that leadership in a locker room. So at the end of the day, I just don't feel like I'm not content. How about I put it that way? I'm not content with Baun being the guy. I'm not content with Baun I am not content with Zach Baun just being the guy, okay? And maybe I'm wrong about this, okay? But I look at it as, and excuse me for a minute, folks. We're trying to effort Geoff Mosher on the phone for Football at 4 here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on a Wednesday. So we'll be joined by Geoff Mosher. Maybe Geoff can, weigh in on this because it's not just Matt and Kate May, okay? I'm noticing a lot of you guys don't seem to want to go down this road that I'm suggesting. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, that's Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com, at Geoff P. Mosher on the Twitter X platform. He now joins us on the phone here for Football at 4 here on 97.3 ESPN. Geoff, welcome in. How you doing today?
Hey, Josh. How are you? What's going on?
So I got to ask you this question because it seems like the listeners are mostly in disagreement with me. So I'm gonna lean this to you to be the judge and jury on this, okay?
Sure.
So to me, I look at the Eagles defense right now with Brandon Graham retiring, and I say you are going to go into next season as currently constructed, assuming you're going to draft some guys and whatever roles they might have, with one of the youngest defenses in the league. So to me, I would like to see them go out and get, doesn't have to be literally this guy, but someone like a Von Miller, someone in that Chris Long mold from 2017, just another veteran to put in that locker room who's been there, done that, who can have a more seasoned tier of leadership beyond what this team already has. Am I wrong to say that?
No, I agree with you on that. I think leadership is important. I think if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's not just the fact that they've lost a key leader in Brandon Graham, but over the last 2 years, it's Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and Jason Kelsey. And like you said, the defense and Darius Slay now. So, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson in his own right became more accountable last year. You saw after he got kicked out of the game, he didn't complain about it. He said, that's on me. And this is an extremely young defense. In fact, it was one of the youngest defenses last year, and it's getting, Brandon Graham and Darius Slay aren't back. So imagine how much the age now is skewed toward being young. And that doesn't mean like you can't be successful. Being young is fine. And it doesn't mean that there aren't guys in that locker room that can be emergent leaders. But I don't know if you heard it, Josh. We did Adam and I did our Inside the Birds podcast recently, and we were talking about this subject. And I said I really think the Eagles, especially on the D line, where, I guess year 3 Nolan Smith is one of your oldest guys on the team. Year 3 Jalen Carter. It really, to me, seems like Calais Campbell type guy would really be an awesome guy to have. Doesn't have to play a ton of snaps. Obviously, he's going to buy a 1-year deal with not a lot of money, but has always been a great leader wherever he's gone, has always been a teacher wherever he's gone, always been good with younger players, is generally regarded as one of the great guys in the league. It doesn't have to be Calais Campbell. I'm just saying a person like that. You brought up Chris Long. Haloti Ngata has been on team in the past. Yeah, I think it would benefit the team to have that.
Yeah, and like I said, if it's not Campbell, and if it's not the guy I keep going to is Von Miller because he's a free agent out there, and I got to double check, but I think he's like 35 years old at this point, but he obviously still has a little something in the tank. It's just the idea that I don't need a full-time guy, like you said, Geoff. It's someone who can just walk into that locker room and, maybe the team has a bad day, right? Maybe they have a bad half. That veteran who can just stand up in that room and maybe say what needs to be said, because no offense to fill in the blank player who's in their 20s, they just don't have the veteran experience or the life experience to be able to talk to other guys in a certain way.
Yeah, I think there's merit to that, and I don't think it has to be an edge player. It can be an interior defensive lineman because they're very young there too. That's why I mentioned Campbell. It could be one or two guys that just have that experience, and they're going to use a bunch of draft picks coming up. Probably add even more youth to this defensive front that, as we just mentioned, is very young. So they've got guys. Vaughn, Nakobe Dean really established himself as a leader, Reed Blankenship. But when it comes to just the up front, it would be nice to see a veteran or two in there who can play a couple of snaps and assert themselves as leaders.
Talking with Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. You mentioned the pod. I was actually watching the Intel with Greg Cosell this morning because I really wanted to get some of the points that you guys were talking about with him with some of the free agents that he brought in. And I loved how you guys kept bringing up Azeez Ojulari's size and his measurements, because while this might not be a guy that most people will look at and get overly excited about, he definitely fits the profile of a guy that makes sense for what this Eagles defense likes to do. And I thought that you guys and Greg were great at pointing that out, because his measurements and his length, his size, it really looks and sounds like a guy that can come in here and do some things for this Eagles defense.
Absolutely. Again, it's all contingent upon him staying healthy. He's had a lot of difficulty doing that throughout his career. The Eagles have signed other players in the past to one-year deals who've had trouble staying healthy, but have been talented when healthy, and it hasn't worked out for them. So you can't put all your eggs in the basket. But when healthy, he's a really, really productive player. And the thing that we all spoke about, and Greg was the first to make mention of it, was just how long his wingspan is. And I made the joke that this is a guy who can scratch his knees without bending over very much, because that's how long his arms are. And it's a real great, it's a trait. Body size, arm length, hand length, speed, things like that are traits. And traits are important for edge rushers, and the Eagles value traits. And it's hard to find guys who are as explosive as he is off the edge, but also have those long arms. And again, for him, it's just about staying healthy. And if you liked the show we did with Greg where we talked about him, pretty soon, either later tonight or tomorrow, we did a analytics breakdown of some of the newer signings with Sam Finkel, and you'd be very interested to see how analytically, when you talk about in terms of win rate, pass rush win rate, and pressures per 100 snaps and sacks per game, right, where Ojulari ranks among the current cast of Eagles, and including current cast and then who's left, Josh Sweat left. He ranks really high in some really important categories, so it's worth listening to that episode as well, because again, for him, to me, it's just all about health. I think there's no question if he's healthy, he's a very good situational pass rusher to have. In a sense, he's probably a lot like what Bryce Huff was with the Jets.
Very interesting. Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast. Like, subscribe, and download wherever you get your podcasts. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Play, or whatever it's called on Apple. You Apple people, that's up your territory. But I'm a YouTube guy at this point. I actually got rid of Spotify. That's a conversation for another day. Geoff, before I let you go, I did want to follow up on one other point, because, we know now what this roster is starting to look like based on who is no longer here. So is there a departure from this roster that you think is the biggest impact or may have the biggest impact moving forward?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that Milton Williams' departure is tough because I know that we have high hopes for Moro Ojomo, and when Moro Ojomo has played, he's played well. So if you want to say, hey, Moro Ojomo can fill in that role, plus they'll draft a guy that can make up for it. But Milton Williams was so consistently good from week one to the end of the year last year, and even the year before. He was a really an impact player who's half a sack or whatever he had didn't really define how important he was. I can't just sit here and say Moro Ojomo will just step in there and play at the level that Milton Williams played. Well, Milton Williams played at such a good level, Josh, that, you know, it goes without saying he's making $26 million a year. So that's pretty impressive coming from where he's coming from. So to me, that's it's a big loss. And although the Eagles have shown that they can make up for these losses and they already have a young DT ready to step in, doesn't mean this guy will play like Milton Williams.
No, it doesn't, and which probably is part of the reason why a lot of the mock drafting people and the draft analysts keep pointing the defensive line for the Eagles at that 32nd pick. But I will remind folks, Geoff, the last time they had that pick after winning a championship, they traded it. So there's no guarantee that Howie's going to sit. Right. There's no guarantee that Howie's going to sit there and just wait for the draft to come to him. For all we know, Howie could trade out of it. He could trade up there. Howie's going to do what Howie's going to do. There's no guarantee that what people are projecting going to happen right now is going to be anywhere close.
I would actually say it's probably more of a guarantee that he's not going to draft in those slots than he is. Well, let me ask you, though, real quick. Who did you pick as the most impactful loss for the Eagles?
So my guy is CJ, because I don't think it's a coincidence that this defense looked so different from 22 to 23 to 24. There is something about the communication on the back end, because I was listening to that podcast that it was Pat Leonard was talking with Justin Simmons, and one of the comments Simmons made about Fangio's defense was about communication. And I'm listening to him say that, and, well, Slay started saying the same thing on his podcast. And I'm thinking about how Zach Baun has said that in different interviews about the communication on the defense. For whatever reason, Fangio's defense requires a certain level of communication from front to back and back to front. And no offense to Sidney Brown, Tristan McCollum, and Reed Blankenship, I just not 100% sure that those guys are the communicators that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was.
You know, Josh, it's a great point. Not only that, but, Sidney Brown doesn't profile as the same kind of player also that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was. So when you factor in his lack of being a true post safety or versatile safety the way that C.J. Gardner has always been, and the communication, you can make a strong argument that the drop-off there, just like I've said from Milton Williams to whatever we expect from Moro Ojomo, is similar, and it could have a similar effect. And I believe it was Cliff Kingsbury who said that the Eagles' defense last year had the most elite spacing that he had ever seen from a defense. And the spacing is part of that communication you're talking about, knowing where to be, exactly where your landmarks are, and getting there. And not having CJ is going to be a big shoes to fill. You're right. It can impact that spacing that was so elite.
He's Geoff Mosher at Geoff P. Mosher on the Twitter X platform. Check out Inside the Birds podcast. Like, subscribe, and download wherever you get your podcasts. Also, search Inside the Birds on YouTube. And don't forget the Inside the Birds Patreon page where you get all the exclusive content. Geoff, appreciate us finagling a way to get you on today.
Sorry it took me so long, but it was good to catch up with you.
Anytime. Geoff Mosher here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Football on 4, as always, being brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. All right, let's hit the break, because coming up next, I know Nicky Earnshaw. He's chomping at the bit. He's like, come on, Josh, I got nuggets. I want to give them to the people. We'll get to that next on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea City. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Wednesday.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him. when he talks to me.
On 97.3 ESPN.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is simple and effective. At the end of the day, it's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports New Jersey is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports New Jersey app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit with up to $400 in bonus bets.
Terms and conditions apply. Real money wagers equal to deposit plus bonus required before withdrawal. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy,
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them. They have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please. Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours. Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours. Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Pro Savings Days are back at Lowe's with exclusive member-only deals. Right now, save $30 on a Little Giant Extra Light Plus 5-foot aluminum stepladder. Was $109, now just $79. Plus, save an additional $20 on the Metabo HPT pneumatic finish nailer. Don't miss out on these limited-time deals. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 3/17 through 3/19. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
New Jersey's got a lot of wow to go around all year round. Wow's on the slopes, on the waves, and on the stage. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NHL, the Flyers in Washington Thursday to take on the Capitals. Philadelphia losing to Tampa Bay Monday 2-0, suffering back-to-back shutout losses. The Flyers were blanked in that game on 21 shots. They've now dropped 7 of 8. NBA, the Sixers continuing their road trip tonight, facing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the best record in the Western Conference. Monday night, the Sixers lost in overtime to Houston. Quentin Grimes had 46 in the loss. They've shut down Paul George for the rest of the season as he has dealt with numerous injuries. Major League Baseball, the Phillies have 7 more games on their spring training schedule. They'll open up the regular season a week from Thursday when they take on the Washington Nationals. Zach Wheeler will get the start in the opener for Philadelphia. The sports update brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
New Jersey, we got a lot of wow to go around all year round. Loop-de-loop wows. Face-to-face with a hippo wows. Catch of the day wows. And catching a wave wows. It's one wow after another here, any time of year. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. We're about 24 hours away from our next substantial rain chance kicking in. Having said that, we could see some fog and patchy drizzle overnight, with mostly cloudy skies, low of 43. Back to 60 tomorrow, clouds and some sun, breezy, chance of a sprinkle early on, then widespread showers and thunderstorms tomorrow evening. Sunny, windy, and colder on Friday, high down to 51. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
It's Phil's opening day at Maynard's Cafe in Margate on Thursday, March 27th, starting at 2 p.m. Win Phillies home opener tickets with parking or Metallica at the link, and try Maynard's famous sandwiches. Visit Maynard's today, your one-stop destination for fun in Margate.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Never thought this radio stunt would catch on so big.
On 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Without any further delay, it's time for the Nuggets, brought to you by The Hub in Summers Point and Mays Landing. Gear that works as hard as you do, only at The Hub. Nick Earnshaw joins us here on 97.3 ESPN. Nick, welcome in. How you doing on this Hump Day Wednesday?
Josh, I'm doing very well. I'm liking some of these rule changes, I can't lie, that have been proposed. Some of them I can't stand. The Eagles, well, I'll tell you what, that's going to be nugget number one, because I love, like, the Eagles just, they're always ahead of the curve, it feels like, right? And I love the rule change that they have proposed. And it has to do with overtime. I have a gigantic gripe with ties. Hopefully this helps eliminate a lot of the ties, right? So they have proposed making the regular season overtime rules the same as the postseason overtime rules. 15 minutes, both teams get to have possession of the ball, and it would eliminate if that first team scores a touchdown, wins the game. So both teams get to possess. And maybe this will be, a better way of having both teams get an opportunity to win the ball game. Josh, your thoughts on nugget number one, Eagles proposing this rule change for overtime?
Look, I'm just being honest with you. I hate any time that there's different rules for regular season and postseason.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I could care less what other people think about this. To me, it's the end of the day. Uniformity is always better. I don't care if you're for or against ties. I don't care if you like shootouts in hockey or not. I don't care. Just make everything the same. There's never a purpose for having, remember in baseball the whole thing was, well, we'll have what they call the runner, in the 10th
Ghost
inning.
runner.
Ghost runner. We'll have the ghost runner in the regular season, but not the postseason. Like, that whole thing was always dumb to me. Like, just stop. Stop being experimental. Just everything uniform across the board. Because you know what? At the end of the day, someone's going to forget, and then a manager's going to go to a game and be like, oh, I didn't remember. Like, we don't need that in our lives.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I like this idea. And can we just get to a point where we eliminate ties in the National Football League? How is it the number one sport in the country still has ties? Ties are the worst thing ever. There's nothing worse than a tie. Nothing
Nick,
worse.
if hockey can figure it out, football can figure it out.
Exactly.
Even,
they have the shootout. Why not? Maybe even, I don't know, throw in a field goal kicker off or something. I don't know. Something goofy. I don't care. I'm exaggerating. But
and look, I know there are people listening to us on 97.3 ESPN who are going to hate when I say this, but there's nothing wrong with the college football model. Okay? No. The idea of you start up at the 20-yard line, you get 4 downs, you get 1 first down, and then you got to score. Like, if you play the full quarter of overtime, just red zone it. Just red zone these guys until somebody wins. Because at the end of the day, it's still a football play. It's still football. It's not the big gimmicky. It's not like, what was that one proposal? Someone said that they should have a home run derby to decide a baseball game. Like, I'm out on anything gimmicky. At least keep it to the game.
Yeah, I don't know how the NFL has not figured out how to make a really good overtime. I just don't understand it. How is the National Football League still sitting here today? It's 2025. What is it? It's almost April. It's March 19th. I forgot what month it was, Josh. But my goodness, how have they not figured this out yet? Why does this happen? Why is there always, it feels like every year, there's a team putting in a rule proposal for overtime, extra time? It feels like it happens all of the time, every single offseason. So I like the Eagles' idea here, but they got to find a way to eliminate the tie. Ties are the worst. There should be a winner. There should be a loser. The fact college football has figured it out and the National Football League can't, it's crazy to me. It's just crazy. And I'm trying to find an angle where maybe it has to do with money, advertising. I don't know. But I don't think it does. I don't think it does. And I think college has perfected it. I love the college model. Honestly, wouldn't mind to see it in the National Football League, but ties need to go. There's no point in having him winning and losing. That's it. No ties, especially in professional sports. And I'm going to say it. I mean, with all the gambling that is now going on, you need a winner and a loser. I'm sorry. You need a winner and a loser. And I think it would help everybody out, to be honest.
All right, what's your next nug?
All right, let's move it along. We got to go to the diamond here. And there was an interesting little tidbit from Mike Gill that the Philadelphia Phillies, and it's funny, after the offseason the Phillies had, that they're still monitoring this. And according to Mike Gill, quote, the Phillies continue to monitor potential cuts from other camps to secure a righty hitting outfielder. Josh, why are the Phillies still in the market for an outfielder? They signed Max Kepler. I thought that was going to solve all the problems. I'm just kidding. Everyone knows that's not going to solve any problems. And now he's got a little bit of a back issue. He's a little banged up, but they continue to monitor right-handed hitting players. Josh, see what happens when you move Bryce Harper to first base. You create all these problems, and you're still looking for that right-handed bat. I don't know where they're going to find another right-handed hitter at this point in spring training. I mean, you're going to have to see what Kepler does. Going to have to watch and monitor that injury. But this is something to keep an eye on, see what the Phillies and Dave Dombrowski have up their sleeve.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, Harper playing first base isn't why you don't have a right-handed bat.
I beg to differ, but
I disagree with you. You don't have a right-handed bat because the Phillies organization has been stubborn, and they won't get a right-handed bat. There's been plenty of opportunities to get right-handed bats, but they have decided Max Kepler's the guy. Like, what? They have decided, let's trade for Austin Hayes and then not bring him back. Okay? This is an organization that has, and I said this earlier in the show, Nick, every offseason, Howie Roseman does something to get you a little extra excited for the year, right? He gives you a little extra something. Dombrowski has made one offseason move in the last couple of years that has gotten anybody excited on any level, and that was signing Trey Turner to a gargantuan $300 million deal. There has not been a move the last 2 years where you have been like, okay, all right, that's the move. Let's go. Go Phils. No, you gotta smell the dirt in the air and the seawater to get you excited. You don't watch the Phillies spring training and be like, can't wait to see him play this year. So that's why the Phillies have a problem, okay? You could have signed Pete Alonso. You didn't. All right? He was out there for 10 million years, sitting on the sidelines. You could have brought him in. There have been other guys over the years, Paul Goldschmidt. You could have traded for Nolan Arenado, right? There's been all kinds of names thrown out there over the years. They could have, maybe, could have, should have, would have, and they didn't. And now you got injuries, and now Matt Gill was saying, oh, they're monitoring. Well, of course they're monitoring because they realize that their imbecilic idea of having a left-handed laden team is blowing up in their face.
See, I love when you get to fill in for Mike because I get to reignite old nuggets. And I'm going to reignite an old nugget for you again today. I got to do the Nick Foles thing yesterday. I'm going to reignite my Bryce Harper nugget from months ago with you because I get a different perspective with you, Josh. And here's what we're going to do, okay? It is Bryce Harper's fault. And it is the Phillies organization's fault moving him to first base, okay? They made an organizational decision to move Bryce Harper to first base, okay? They did that. And Bryce Harper has a lot of pull in this organization. You know what that created? That created two problems in the outfield, in center and left field. They have yet to figure it out in 2 years. You also let your right-handed bat walk out the door. Mind you, he had a bad year last year, but you don't know what he could have done with the Phillies. He was very successful with the Phillies, and that was Rhys Hoskins. You let your right-handed bat walk out the door. And ever since then, you've been trying to replace that right-handed bat, whether it's power, whether it's hitting for average, contact, whatever, you haven't found it. You haven't. And, Trey Turner, now you have him in the leadoff spot. Who knows? They put Schwarber back in the leadoff spot. Who knows what we're going to get on opening day? But you've been trying to replace that right-handed spot for years now, and they've tried to bandage it up with trades like Austin Hayes, signings of Max Kepler. Now, I hope Max Kepler has a great year. We don't know what we're going to get out of him this season. We're going to see. We're going to find out. He has the back issue now. That's something to look out for and watch. But that has not been replaced since they let Hoskins go. They need to find a right-handed bat. They have too many problems in the outfield, too much inconsistency from Marsh, Rojas, and whoever the heck they put out there. Too much inconsistency at this point. So, while I agree with you, they have had multiple chances to go get a right-handed bat. This started when Harper moved to first base. This whole issue and letting Hoskins walk, they have not replaced it since then.
Yeah, I think the only area you and I disagree with is I don't blame Harper. I blame the organization.
Well, you got to put a little blame on Harper because he has a lot of say in that organization, and he made the decision to go to first base. Now he's walking it back because clearly they need a bat.
But Dave Dombrowski also said they went to Harper and asked him XYZ. You know what I mean? And Harper told Ken Rosenthal and confirmed to Todd Zalecki he went to the Phillies and told them about the right-handed bat at first base. So I don't think Harper's the problem. I think it's Dombrowski and his organization. Nick, they're too passive. They're too
true.
We're going to wait and see what's going to happen. It's a long baseball season. We're going to smell the grass, and we're going to figure things out. And I'm done figuring things out, okay? I hate the fact that there's only one team in this city that's trying to win at a high level, and that's the Eagles. The other three teams keep teasing us with a carrot in front of our face.
Yeah, and Dombrowski's been known to trade prospects before. So all of a sudden he's scared to death.
What is his commitment to these prospects?
Scared to death.
What is his loyalty? He's turning into Daryl Morey. Let me sign all the guys I have connections with. I drafted a Castellanos, so I'm going to sign him. I remember scouting Brandon Marsh 8 years ago. I'm going to go acquire him. What are you, Daryl Morey? Is Dombrowski and Daryl Morey hanging out?
Well, that's the problem. The Phillies are entering Sixer territory. They're going to enter that territory sooner rather than later if they don't go and make a splash at the deadline this year. Go get that top pitcher you want. Go get that bat you want. And you're going to have to give up players. I'm sorry. Your window is now. And
Ranger
you got to stop beating around the bush.
That's the guy.
I've been saying it for months. I thought they should have traded him in the offseason. They have plenty of depth now. Taijuan Walker was bad. Bad job by him today. He looked horrible. So that brings back.
I mean, are you really surprised?
I know. I was trying to hype up the Taijuan Walker bounce back season, but I don't know if that'll happen. I don't know. Well, that was a bad job today from him. We'll see. But
they should have traded when his value was highest before today.
But But Ranger, yeah, I mean, he's your chip. He's your chip at this point. I know he's an expiring deal, but he is your chip right now, and you have plenty of pitching depth at the moment to go make a move.
All right, what else you got?
All right, final nugget before we wrap up out of here. You're a movie buff, and I wanted to get your thoughts.
Big movie guy.
On Happy Gilmore 2 for nugget number 3.
Yep,
trailer was released
this year, right?
Yep, trailer was the day before my birthday. It will be released July 25th. I got to get
that I need to take you out to the movies for your birthday. Is that what you're saying? That's
absolutely. I'm asking you on a date right now, Josh. We're going to see Happy Gilmore. All right. But
I got about 3 movie theaters we can go to.
Cool. There we go. 97.3 outing. How about that? That'll be great.
There we go. That sounds better
we'll get
than
the whole
a date
crew.
because then it makes it sound wrong. So
Happy Gilmore 2. Listen, for me, I was a little underwhelmed by the trailer that released yesterday. Did you happen to see the trailer at all?
I have not seen the trailer yet. I will say I saw the interview that Adam Sandler did with the Kelsey brothers talking about the movie.
Yeah.
So I've seen that.
Yes.
Now, from what I understand, is this not a Netflix production?
I believe it is a Netflix production.
So is this one of those deals where it's like it's only going to be in theaters for like X number of days and then it's going to go to Netflix kind of thing?
I think it's something along those lines. I know Netflix is like the big, producer of it. It's going to be on Netflix. I get confused with the streaming stuff now. Like, is it going to go straight to Netflix? It could be in the movies. Who knows? I'll be honest.
$7.25.25
Yep.
only on Netflix.
Oh, only on Netflix.
You got to fast forward to the end of the trailer.
Okay.
So first of all, it's a bad job by them not put it in theaters. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, Happy Gilmore is a throwback. That would be like putting Top Gun Maverick only on streaming.
Right.
Top Gun Maverick made bank.
It did
at the box office. So that's a bad job by whoever made that decision.
I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little nervous. I think
your nervousness is now even more justified because they're not putting it in theaters.
True. I'm a little nervous based on the trailer. I wonder what people think out there. Text in. We'll respond to that nugget at another time. But my time is up, Josh. 3-pack of nuggets for you today.
Yeah, let me just put it on the screen here for you. You can see at the end of the trailer where it brings up the whole Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah.
It's
got the Netflix handle. Yep.
Got the Netflix handle. He breaks the simulator, which is in and of itself hilarious. $7.25.25 only on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm nervous about this one. I just don't want it to ruin it for me, They should have maybe left it alone.
Bad job by somebody.
Yep, somebody. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll still have to watch it.
All right. Well, Nick, I appreciate you. Another edition of Nuggets. We will not hear from you again until Saturday on the Locker Room with Billy Schweim because we have college basketball all day tomorrow and Friday. So, Nick, appreciate you jumping on today, and we will hear from you trying to interject during the Locker Room. I've gotten a sneak preview of Saturday's show, okay?
Oh.
Apparently it's supposed to be you, Mike Carlin, and Nick Earnshaw. That's going to be the trio in studio this Saturday.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's going to be fun. We have fun on those shows. Let's to say the least. They're a fun show. They're a crazy 2 hours, to say the least. Best 2 hours I've ever been a part of, clearly.
Nick, take care of yourself, all right?
All right, Josh. Good luck on everyone's brackets, by the way. I'll see you next week and we'll get back to you on that.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Earnshaw here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. And it is your next opportunity to win right now. All right, the sounder means I need callers 6 and 7 at 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. Callers 6 and 7. You are in for the opportunity to win Phillies home opener tickets or tickets to Metallica performing at Lincoln Financial Field. But you must first qualify at 609-573-3776. And then you must be present next Thursday, Maynard's in Margate, where Mike Gill and the Sports Bash will be broadcasting live from 2 to 6 p.m. You must be present to win. Maynard's in Margate next Thursday. Callers 6 and 7 at 609-573-3776. Rye or Sigh with Ryan Rothstein is coming up next.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Have you checked out the most loved Indian restaurant in South Jersey? The Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is amazing and ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. NJ.com ranked them the #2 best restaurant in all of New Jersey. At Nizam's, they believe that dining is more than just great food. It's the whole experience. The Nizam's open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. to 9:30. Join them for a special lunch buffet on Sundays from 11:30 to 3. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-506-3355. 800-506-3355.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
The tournament is here, and Total Wine & More is your slam dunk headquarters. Whether you're cheering courtside from your couch with crisp craft beers, smooth bourbons, or refreshing seltzers, we've got the perfect lineup to keep your watch party winning. And just like your bracket, we've got a lineup full of contenders. Whether you're picking favorites or going for bold upsets, our friendly guides will help you find amazing drinks for every matchup. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Prime Sports has arrived. The only sports book where you can lay -108 instead of -110 on all your favorite teams. Why would you risk more to win the same amount on another sports book? I have no idea. Download the Prime Sports New Jersey app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit with up to $400 in bonus bets.
Terms and conditions apply. Real money wagers equal to deposit plus bonus required before withdrawal. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Tune in to the Bet365 Play of the Day during the Sports Bash with me, Mike Gill, every weekday afternoon at 5:45 on 97.3 ESPN. Made possible by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Want to stay out of the dark the next time a storm hits? Then reach out to Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Heath is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto. Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's back. It's Bennett Chevy's most popular event, March Markdowns, for the entire month of March. So get to Bennett right now for savings up to 20%. That's right, you get up to 20% off. That's because Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, plus gives you all the rebates. So get to Bennett Chevy now and save even more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's largest certified dealer with great savings on every single one. And during March Markdowns, you'll get a minimum 10 grand for the worst clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is the best. They're paid on your satisfaction, not your budget and how much you spend. So everybody gets our famous no pressure, friendly, and helpful service. Together, let's drive during March Markdowns at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Just in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Hump Day Wednesday edition of the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN. By the way, the text board has been elite today, and it's a little disappointing we haven't had more time to get to it because some of the comments on the text board have been absolutely hilarious today. And before we get to Ryan Rothstein for Rye or Cy, I got to read this one text from Shaner in EHT, because he literally gives us a Cliff Notes breakdown of Nick's Nuggets. And I wish he would have texted this while Nick was on, but it came in afterward. So I love this. He says, Hump Day Nugget reactions from a fan. Number one, when are there so many ties in football? Ties make it the worst. I knew kicking off with that comment. That's a frozen nugget. It's not even a real nugget, he says. He says, number two, the diamond is sharp and lovely. That's a real concern in the outfield with a right-handed bat. He says, Reese Hoskins should have been kept. That's a hot nugget, he says. So he says one nugget's frozen, one nugget's hot. The next one, he says, Happy Gilmore 2 is going to be awesome. He says, especially for us middle-aged folk, Josh, the Kelsey interview got me pumped for it. I love Nick Earnshaw. I'm going to say that could have been a sweeter nugget done by him about Happy Gilmore 2. So, all right. So now, Ryan, I got to ask you, do you even care about Happy Gilmore 2, or are you one of these people who's just like, yeah, whatever?
Of course I care. I care about it. Yeah, dude, anyone in our age bracket who came up on Happy Gilmore.
Earnshaw brought up a good point that, Gil's not a movie guy. So his thing was that I'm a movie guy. You're more of a movie guy. So maybe we would care more about Happy Gilmore than Gil would.
Yeah, Gil is not the bar. I mean, if we're talking about any classic movie, Gil's irrelevant in that conversation. Gil's never seen anything, right? And the only thing that you can relate is the landscape of movies has changed. You can argue for the worse. But I think Happy Gilmore 2 is perfect for what it's going to be. It's going to be on Netflix. It's a perfect Netflix flick. bringing back the nostalgia. You can't go wrong with a Happy Gilmore character, and all the guest spots, the celebrity guest spots that are going to be in the movie. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the fact that it's only on Netflix, I do think it's a little bit of a letdown because I think that maybe we could have made bank at the theater. So it's kind of like, because you know how it is. Nostalgia makes money. You know what I mean? Like, look at Top Gun Maverick. That was the highest grossing movie that year. And it was the highest grossing movie of any movie since pre-pandemic at that point. It was 2022. So you think about it. Can you imagine Happy Gilmore, late July, movie release? Like, the theaters would have been packed with just people between your age and 60 all just running in there being like, take my money, like from Futurama.
Yeah, there are two things to that. One, the industry now is scared to death to put a comedy in the theaters.
That's
scared
true, yeah.
Scared to death, unless it's Guardians of the Galaxy or an all-time.
It's not even really a comedy. It's more like a actiony, commie action. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, unless it's a Marvel movie, it ain't going in the theater, or a cult classic like Top Gun. And Sandler has a monster deal with Netflix, which is a big factor in that too.
True. Now, I will say Netflix has done we'll put the movie in theaters for like a month and then immediately rip it out and put it on Netflix only. Like they did that with the movie with The Rock and was it Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot?
Red Notice or something?
Red Notice, yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Red One, but I realized that was an Amazon property. No, the Red Notice one, which I enjoyed that movie, by the way. That was a fun little flick,
Another, solid for it, Netflix.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that was the thing with it. It was in theaters, I think, for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it was. And they're like, all right, you missed the window, go buy Netflix. And it was kind of like like, it's here, and it's gone. Like, they could have done that with this.
Not trying to throw shade on Ryan Reynolds. I don't know where this convo is going, by the way. But unless it's Deadpool, man, I don't know how many people are running to the movie theaters to see Ryan Reynolds anymore.
The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, though.
Sign me up. I'm a fan of both. Big fan. I think Ryan Reynolds is good.
For me, and I'm the odd one in this conversation, the person I was most excited about for that movie was Gal Gadot. I'm a huge Gal Gadot fan, so.
Yeah, why is that, Josh?
Well, I mean, you mean aside from the fact that she's an incredible actress and she's gorgeous and she's incredibly talented and she has amazing range, and I wish more actresses had her
talented.
range.
She's talented.
You ever see the movie where she plays the villain? Like, I was like almost scared.
I don't think so, unless I'm blanking on it. No, but I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. She's great, really good.
Yeah, she's got range. But anyway, so.
Yes.
All right. Well, we got the texter Shaner in EHC. Thanks for chiming in. I love how he broke down Nuggets like he's Coach Lynham on the Sixers postgame show.
Hopefully better than that. I'm sorry, Coach. I love Coach, but
Coach has got a place in Strathmere. You better be careful.
Hey, I know they all come to the Jersey Shore. It's really a shot at the Sixers, not an unfair shot at Coach Lynham there.
Is there an unfair shot at the Sixers, though? I think there's always a fair shot at the Sixers.
Absolutely. It's too easy, though. It's too easy. They're a punching bag right now, and I'll take all of my swings at them. So
love it.
All right, man. You had a busy show, a lot for us that we can do, but I was thinking of what we can do maybe a little bit different today, and it's bracket time, ladies and gents. It's that time of year, and Thursday, Friday, arguably two of the best days in all of sports, including the weekend, but especially Thursday and Friday. Can't wait for tomorrow. Just games all day for 14, 16 hours straight, whatever it is. So I said, all right, let's do a Philly bracket, man. Let's get a little weird.
Okay.
Let's get a little weird. And I tried to think of the different topic ideas that I could focus in on. A lot obviously come to mind, but I landed on most popular Philly sports athlete / figure right now. What are your thoughts on that? Just brief, instant reaction. Yeah.
My instant reaction is, how broad are we going with this?
Well, how broad can we go? When I say the most popular athlete or sports figures right now in the current landscape, I did a Sweet 16, and it wasn't hard to get the 16, but I only included 2 people that were non-athletes, for what that's
Okay.
worth.
I think that's an interesting designation because it's kind of like sports figure, not actual athlete. So it allows you a little bit of discretion there. And, obviously, you have guys like Brandon Graham who just retired. He obviously has a level of popularity. So there's a couple different ways you could have gone with this.
Yeah, and I'll play spoiler right now. One of the figures, quote figures, non-athletes, is Howie Roseman. I was doing this. I said, "There's no freaking way I can't have Howie Roseman involved in this bracket and conversation." So my idea of how we'll run through this, we'll try and do it quickly and efficiently. We will both decide on who advances. Sound good?
All right. I like it.
All right, man. 1 verse 8, 1 verse 16, so to speak here. Jalen Hurts versus Mitchkov of the Flyers.
I think Hurts is the obvious answer here, but I got the feeling that 5 years from now, the answer is going to be Mishkov. Because I think Mishkov is ascending.
Josh, don't just gloss over that take, dude. That may be the hottest take that Josh Hennig has ever had in the history of this program, okay? You just said the Super Bowl winning quarterback and Jalen Hurts, the most popular guy in the city right now, maybe the planet, is going to get surpassed by a Philadelphia Flyer.
In 5 years.
I don't care if it's 10. That's bold.
Because one, all the people who are smarter than me at hockey, the people who cover hockey for a living, they say that Mishkov is the biggest Russian prospect since Ovechkin and Malkin. So if he's anywhere close to that, right? If he's anywhere in that range, I remember the 90s. Lindros, Leclerc, they were gods in this city. Yeah. And to me, and Mishkov is really good now. Imagine how much better he can get. And if he gets anywhere near Ovechkin and Malkin levels, I mean, the dude's already better than Connor Bedard was last year. And Bedard was the number 1 pick of the draft 2 years ago. So, it's one of those deals where you get a superstar on the ice and you're going to have all the hockey fans flood in. You're going to have all the casual fans be like, "Oh, this is cool. Hockey's cool again. Let's go to a game." And you have all the women who love hockey players flooding to the arena. It's going to be a wild environment in 5 years.
I hope you're right. I would push back and say I just don't believe that in Philly sports, that a hockey player can ever surpass an Eagles Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's just he's going to have to win multiple Stanley Cups, and he's going to have to be the best player on the planet, superstar to your point, for multiple seasons. So, hey, I hope that comes to fruition. But obviously, as it stands today, Josh, Jalen Hurts is the easy pick to advance in the opening matchup. All right, moving on. I tried to throw in some tough ones. Saquon Barkley and Aaron Nola.
Oh, to me, this is easy. It's Saquon.
Yeah.
I mean, Saquon, it's more than just the season he had. It's the fact that he literally came to Philadelphia and won a championship. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what has Aaron Nola done?
Well, it's tough right now for any Eagle that's going to be in our conversation. It's tough to not pick the Eagle. They're coming off a Super Bowl win. So
True.
That alone.
But you mentioned it earlier, like Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl winning quarterback, right? Quarterback's always the hottest thing. Saquon Barkley, over 2,000 rushing yards. That's the record in the NFL for regular and postseason rushing. So it's like, and then Aaron Nola is just longevity.
I mean? He's just a boring, low-key, one of the greatest Philly athletes, in that conversation, but never quite good enough.
Aaron Nola is the Honda Civic of Philadelphia sports. He'll last for 200,000 miles, and he'll take care of your family, but he's not going to get you excited.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever want to be called a Honda Civic, but it is a perfect comparison that sums him up. All right, moving on. A.J. Brown versus Kyle Schwarber in the Philly bracket.
This is where I would go Schwarber for the reason that I think that Schwarber might be the most popular Phillies player. Like, I know Harper's like the megastar of the team, but I think for like the diehard Philly fan, I remember when I was younger, like all of my aunts loved everyone but the star players in the Phillies. Like, all my
Mm-hmm.
aunts were like, they love John Kruk and Pete Incaviglia on the 93 team. So it's like, Schwarber is like the guy that like all the dudes want to have a beer with, all the women want to go out with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a dude's dude. He's the man. You're right. And I said this a year or so ago that I'm not going to go as far to say if he were to win a World Series in Philly that he would surpass Chase Utley, because that's ridiculous.
But he'd be on that level.
I think he'd be on that level. To your point, I don't dispute your pick. I think Schwarber is a relatively easy choice over AJ Brown in that matchup.
And one more thing on that, I thought it was interesting because when the guys from Foul Territory did their show at Phillies spring training earlier this month, and we played some of that audio earlier this month, every player they talked to, because they asked like a couple of generic questions, like, remember a couple of years ago when you and Gill were at Radio Row and you did like the, hey, what was like the, drink a beer in the shower, yes or no? Like, yeah, there was a
with Stu Gatz.
Yeah, Stu Gatz, yeah. So like, they did that with all the Phillies players. They were like, who's the one guy you were happiest to see when you came to spring training? Every single player said Kyle Schwarber. Every single one. They said they were happy to see Schwarber. They all said they gave him a hug. And then they told Schwarber later, and he didn't know what to say. He was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Like the dude is so cool. He doesn't realize how cool he is.
Yeah, he is the man. Kyle Schwarber, you are the man. That's my Harry Callis. All right.
Solid.
Not bad. I don't think it was bad. Perfect segue after we just did a segment or two yesterday on a guy that don't know how fun he is to be around day to day. Joel Embiid against Zach Wheeler.
I think if this was 3 years ago, you would go Embiid. But in 2025, you're going Wheeler.
Yeah. I agree, but I think almost the amount of hate towards Embiid right now is worthy of picking Embiid because he's popular. He's infamous.
He's infamous, yeah.
He's infamous right now, yeah.
He's not a blast to be around, though.
He's not a blast to be around. He's still an MVP winner, and Wheeler's not even the most popular guy on his team on the Phillies. So
that's true.
I'm gonna go Embiid. Do you push back on that, or do you want to fill that in?
I mean, the way this is playing out, I mean, he'll just lose the next round anyway, so it's fine with me.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. We'll go a little controversy. We'll go Embiid and an upset. I'll call it a slight upset over Wheeler in that one. All right, moving on to the other side. I'll deem it another 1-16 type of a matchup. We have Bryce Harper facing off against Cooper DeJean.
This is the hardest one. Because
really?
I think there is a contingent of people that hold Harper on a pedestal in this city, in Philadelphia sports fandom. But I think Cooper DeJean is one of the fastest rising stars in the city. Like, I think, like, Cooper DeJean is, like, rocketing in terms of popularity.
Yeah.
But Harper, I mean, he's the league MVP. He is the centerpiece.
He's a superstar.
Like, you got to go Harper here. But, man, like, if DeJean was matched up with somebody else, I would probably go to DeJean.
Yeah. I know that wasn't a low-key tough one. Listen, I think we could make an argument, an easy argument, that Cooper DeJean is already a top 3 to 5 guy in this city as it stands today.
Listen, when I wrote my article about the top 10 Philly athletes under 25, he was high on the list.
Yeah.
And part of my thing was I put him higher, but I have Jalen Carter and Tyrese Maxey in this city. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's only so high you could put him on the list.
Perfect segue. We'll try and pick up the pace a little bit. Hope the listeners are enjoying this. Something a little bit different here on the March Madness opening week here. March Madness Eve, I can call it. Jalen Carter against Tyrese Maxey.
I'm going to go Jalen Carter because for as much as Maxey is hands down the most popular Sixer, Jalen Carter's won a championship. And I don't know if Tyrese Maxey's ever going to win a championship in Philadelphia.
Yeah, now that's very fair. I'm voting Maxey.
Okay.
But
Sell me on it.
I'll give you the win because I agree with you. Like at the end of the day, it's Jalen Carter right now. That's very reasonable to give him the edge on that matchup.
Well, let me ask you a question really quick.
Yeah.
Is advancing Maxey, would that be more fun for the bracket
Yes.
than advance him?
Okay.
Because I'm here to have some fun with this. Because one of the texters, they didn't leave their name, they chimed in and says, guys, nobody cares about hockey. It's going to get passed by the WNBA when it comes to the city. I think that person's too young to remember what hockey meant to this town.
He is. And that's a little bit of a ridiculous statement. And there's a reason why there's only one Philadelphia Flyer in this bracket of 16. So we'll go with Maxey just to try and change it up. There is a lot of Eagles in this. All right, Paul George and Lane Johnson. This is an easy
Lane.
one.
This is Lane.
Yeah.
I mean, Lane is going to take Paul George back to the WWE and choke slam him through the turnstile.
Yeah, he's going to give him the Undertaker off the cage through the broadcast table. I'm with
got JR screaming, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, dear God! All right, last one before we go to the Elite Eight. Howie Roseman up against Nick Sirianni.
It's tough, but I think the answer should be Howie because Howie has got 2 rings. Sirianni's got 1. Howie has built 3 teams that have gotten the championships, and Nick Sirianni's only been around for 4 years? Is it
4 years?
4 years? Yeah.
Yeah. Playoffs every year, 2 Super Bowl trips, but yes. I mean, listen, Howie has a case to win this whole thing. We'll see how it plays out.
Howie's got a Hall of Fame case he's building.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so we agree on that. Howie advances. All right, circling back, we have Jalen Hurts, a good one here. Jalen Hurts against Saquon Barkley.
Now, let me ask you a question, Ryan, because you do wade deeper into the dark waters of the internet more than I do. Okay? And that is, do you feel like Saquon or Jalen are more popular?
Good question. The year that Saquon's coming off of, you can say Saquon, but I give Jalen the edge overall. It's tough,
I think
though.
the only reason why you give Jalen the edge is because he got the MVP. It's like, that kind of feel. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like if I hate putting it this way, but if Jalen didn't win MVP and Saquon won MVP, I don't think we're advancing Jalen here.
No, and you can make an easy case for Saquon here. Did the Eagles win the Super Bowl if Saquon's not here?
There, yeah.
No.
Exactly.
No, they don't. We could easily go Saquon. I don't think we will, because Jalen Hurts is the Super Bowl MVP. He is the quarterback. He's deserving of getting the edge. But
I feel like Jalen's like the buzzer beater. Like he's like Bryce Drew with Valpo back in the day, where he just he's gonna pull it out with like a 1 vote margin.
He's Chris Jenkins of Villanova.
I wouldn't go that far. That was a championship. I'm trying to stick within the early round of the tournament here.
Just trying to think of a buzzer beater. All right, man.
Bryce Drew Valpo. Don't you remember that?
No, I do. I tried to bring it local. All right, so we'll give Jalen the edge and a good one there. Next one, we have Kyle Schwarber and Joel Embiid.
This is like North Carolina, San Diego State last night. Schwarber's going to dominate this, and Embiid's going to get injured and have to leave the matchup, and Schwarber's going to hit a walk-off homer.
Yeah, for the sake of the bracket, I would want to lean Joel just for some fun and controversy, but I think it would be foolish of us to do that, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Schwarber is arguably the most popular Philly. So, yeah. I go Schwarbs in that one, taking down Joel Embiid, who missed the game with tummy issues. All right, next one. Bryce Harper against Tyrese Maxey.
I think if we had this conversation at a different point in time, people didn't hate the Sixers so much, I think Maxey would have gotten the nod here. But I think because the Phillies are more of a... The Phillies have more shine on them, and the Sixers got more dirt on them. I think you got to go Harper here, just because I think Harper he's obviously not the most popular, the second most popular player on the team. He's beloved in the city. Maxey, I think, is on such a horrible team that's making him look bad.
Agree. So we have 3 of the 4 final 4 tickets punched. Jalen Hurts, Kyle Schwarber, and Bryce Harper. Good job by us with the spreading that love out a little bit. For the 4th and final ticket punch, we got a good one. We got Lane Johnson going up against Howie Roseman.
See, I want to go Howie here just because I want to get him to the final 4. Also, Howie drafted Lane. Okay, let's keep that in mind. People don't remember this, but Jeffrey Lurie told the media when they hired Chip Kelly that they were going to use Howie's draft board, and Chip was just going to consult on the draft, and that Howie was going to have final decision in that 2013 draft. So that means Howie Roseman is directly responsible for drafting Lane Johnson.
I'm with you. Easy. It's Howie Roseman. So all right, we got the championship matchup. Man, I think we nailed it.
Final 4, right? Final 4 here?
Final 4. I'm sorry. I started to pencil it in already because I know we're up against it.
So it's Howie versus Harper, right?
Correct.
This is fascinating. So, what is more valuable, the guy who makes the team or the guy on the team?
Come on, man. This isn't valuable is a little bit different than what we're asking and what we're basing it off of. It's all encompassing.
That's true. It's popularity.
Yeah, it's popularity as it stands today. It's Howie Roseman. He gets the edge. He has to.
He's got the rings. Harper doesn't have the rings. It's a pretty straightforward deal.
Yeah. All right, so Howie advances. Who will face Howie between Jalen Hurts and who did we have? And Jalen Hurts and
Schwarber.
And Schwarber.
I mean, you got to go with the guy who won the Super Bowl MVP.
You do.
I mean, it's pretty much there. I mean, I love Schwarber, but Jalen Hurts has got the rings. He's got the bling. He's got all the stuff. And Schwarber is just the guy. Schwarber's still the dude's dude, and he made it to a Final 4. So
if I set the bracket up better, it could have been Harper Howie national title, so to speak, Philly national title. It ended up
that would have been hilarious.
It was just a heavy side there. So, we go Jalen Hurts against Howie Roseman for the most popular Philly sports figure right now.
Go
ahead.
This is easy. It's, you know who it is? It's that guy. That's the guy right there. Right? Come on.
Damn right. Easy. It's Howie Roseman, man. It's Howie Roseman. It's by a landslide. We can't talk about the guy enough, rightfully so. Every button he presses is the right one. He turns any garbage that he ends up finding into gold. Coming off the Super Bowl win, this team always continues to get better. Any slip up they have, it's immediately rectified. Howie Roseman right now is the man in Philadelphia sports.
And I mean, it's Howie with that picture of him with the cigar, with the beer dent in his head, with the sunglasses. That's the man right there.
That's the man. Enough said. There it is. Your Philly March Madness bracket for most popular figure in the city of brotherly love. It's Howie.
So the only disagreements we got on the text board was the one person who said no one cares about hockey. We had that person. And then you had the other person who says on the text board, this person didn't leave their name either, so I give them credit. But they said, this bracket would be not fair if you included the Philly Fanatic. He would win it all.
That's a little bit of a bold take. Fanatic is a beloved figure, but no, man. Not more than Howie. It's like, what, should we throw Rocky Balboa into it? You know, where do we draw the line, Josh?
All right, Ryan, that was fun. I appreciate you coming up with that. That was a cool idea. At Wise Riot on the Twitter X platform. He will be back on Monday because we got the tournament the next 2 days. So, Ryan, enjoy your weekend. Stay out of trouble, and we'll see you on Monday with Mike Gill.
All right, man. Enjoy the tournament games. Talk soon.
Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN. Speaking of the Phillies, coming up next, Frank Klose's Phillies mailbag will dig deeper into the Phillies as they are less than 10 days from the first game of the 2025 regular season. Phillies talk next on 97.3 ESPN.
This is the home of the Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles.
What a game. What a season. What a team. The greatest Eagles team in modern history.
97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes strippers and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's Bennett Chevy's most popular event, March Markdowns for the entire month of March. So get to Bennett right now for savings up to 20%. That's right, you get up to 20% off. That's because Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, plus gives you all the rebates. So get to Bennett Chevy now and save even more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's largest certified dealer with great savings on every single one. And during March Markdowns, you'll get a minimum 10 grand for the worst clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is the best. They're paid on your satisfaction, not your budget and how much you spend. So everybody gets our famous no pressure, friendly, and helpful service. Together, let's drive during March Markdowns at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer. Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times. Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants? These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is New Jersey's full-time reduced juice sportsbook. Download the Prime Sports New Jersey app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit with up to $400 in bonus bets.
Terms and conditions apply. Real money wagers equal to deposit plus bonus required before withdrawal. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out, because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NBA, the Sixers back in action tonight on the road, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder of the best record in the Western Conference. Philadelphia announcing earlier this week it was shutting down Paul George for the rest of the season. He's dealt with numerous injuries. The Sixers are coming off a loss in overtime to the Houston Rockets on Monday. Quentin Grimes had 46 points in that loss. Major League Baseball, the Phillies have 7 more games on their spring training schedule down in Florida, and they open up the regular season a week from Thursday in Washington against the Nationals. Zach Wheeler is a scheduled starter for the Phillies in that opener. The Flyers will be in Washington Thursday to take on the Capitals, who have the most points in the NHL. Philadelphia is coming off back-to-back shutout losses, losing to Tampa Bay on Monday, where they were blanked on 21 shots and have dropped 7 of their last 8 games. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
Here is an important safety message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety.
I'm New Jersey Attorney General Matt Platkin. Last year, there were 133 alcohol-impaired driving fatalities in New Jersey. That's 133 lives lost, 133 shattered families. Choose responsibility over recklessness. Don't drive impaired.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. We're about 24 hours away from our next substantial rain chance kicking in. Having said that, we could see some fog and patchy drizzle overnight, with mostly cloudy skies, low of 43. Back to 60 tomorrow, clouds and some sun, breezy, chance of a sprinkle early on, then widespread showers and thunderstorms tomorrow evening. Sunny, windy, and colder on Friday, high down to 51. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Hello, I am Scott, branch manager with Viking Pass.
Viking is proud to have served our community for over 40 years. With offices throughout New Jersey, Viking provides pest control services from your home or business, inside or out. VikingPest.com to learn more.
Listen to all the madness. March Madness is coming to 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN. It's time to get into our Phillies mailbag each and every week on the Sports Bash. Frank Klose, our Phillies insider from 97.3 ESPN.com, answers your questions, whether it's on Twitter or Blue Sky or frankly, wherever Frank seems to find these questions, he answers them for you guys each week at 97.3 ESPN.com. And he joins us from, obviously, a much nicer place than I'm sitting in. Because I'm in the studio, and Frank Klose looks like he's got fresh air. How's it going, Frank?
It's going well. I'm actually on the softball field with rain tomorrow. We kind of move things around, so I'm out on the field.
Okay, so you're saying that weather forecast that we just had pertains to you, too.
It sure does. We preemptively moved tomorrow's game to today, but I didn't want to mess up our schedule because we already moved stuff around because of softball.
We were supposed, for those who don't know, Frank was supposed to be on yesterday. We moved it because of softball, and now here we are. Frank, I think one of the interesting things about today's mailbag is I think that the questions in today's mailbag is a reflection of how everyone feels right now, because to kind of take Phil's question and kind of expand it, Frank, I think there are a lot of questions at the Phillies bench. There are a lot of people wondering, well, what's going on? Weston Wilson is injured. You have guys getting injured at the end of camp, and now people are wondering, Frank, well, who is actually going to be on this roster the first week of the season?
Well, you figure the starting nine are kind of set. That includes the 8 positions plus the designated hitter, Kyle Schwarber, although he might play the field sometimes. You have the 5 starters set. There'll be 8 relievers. And then when you get into the bench, you're going to have a backup catcher. You're going to have Edmundo Sosa. So that leaves just 2 spots. Now, one of them I probably would have been more confident about Johan Rojas taking. However, he's still yet to play the field. He's been serving as a designated hitter throughout camp, but he hasn't taken the field yet. So that's an area of concern. I will say I think that slot needs to be a center fielder who can hit right-handed, and that's basically either Rojas if he's healthy, or Oscar Mercado may end up finding himself having a shot. You may remember him from his 1-game stint with the Phillies in 2022. Right. So I think Mercado, it'll be Mercado or Rojas. And then when we get to the last one, I know we've been looking at Buddy Kennedy rather intensely, I suppose, this spring, of course, because we're rooting for the South Jersey guy. But there's really just that one spot left. And Cody Clemens has kind of been outperforming the rest of them. And he's the same kind of guy that he profiles in the infield, could play some outfield in the corners. Nice bat, having a really good spring training, hitting over 300 this spring for the Phillies and playing around the diamond. But, there's the one issue with Cody Clemens is he's a left-handed bat, and the Phillies already have many of them, right? So when you consider Max Kepler's a lefty bat, and then if Brandon Marsh is playing every day, he's a lefty bat. All of a sudden, when you add up all the other lefties, they're very left-handed. Now, Cody Clemens out of minor league options. They would either have to cut him if they don't keep him. But Scott Lauber of the Philadelphia Inquirer actually had a pretty interesting idea. He wondered if the Phillies might consider trading Cody Clemens to another team for somebody that might profile a little bit better for what the Phillies need. So barring that, I think he's the guy, even though he's left-handed. I think they would love to still have Weston Wilson around. But unfortunately, again, he is dealing with that injury and will be out for a little while longer. So I think it's Cody Clemens right now, barring a trade. I mean, Buddy Kennedy, he's shown some power this spring. His OPS looks good, even though he's only batting in the 100s. But he might be the tough odd man out at this point, unless they move on from Clemens and don't get somebody back in return from the right side.
Frank, another injury this so far in spring training was Matt Strahm. We're unsure if he's going to start this season. And I think that the question asked here by Nick in the Phillies mailbag at 97.3 ESPN.com is interesting, because I was listening to Ruben Amaro the other day talk about how impressed he's been with Alvarado, how he lost weight, his velocity is back up. So for you, is a confident Jose Alvarado going to be the key for this bullpen this year?
We think back to 2022. The Phillies rode Jose Alvarado to that World Series, right? And Seranthony Dominguez was dominant from the right side. Well, so far, Jose Alvarado has been unhittable. He's reached 102.5, I believe, on the radar gun to this point. He hasn't allowed a run. He's not walking batters, and he's striking out a lot. I mean, in his 8 innings, 8 appearances, he struck out 17. So that's more than 2 on average per inning. So he has been absolutely lights out, and he has lost some weight, but I know he was kind of weighed down a little bit too by his family situation. I actually had the opportunity when I was down in Clearwater last week to talk to some of his family in the best Spanish I had. But they're up from Venezuela. His little baby nephew was there waving to him in the bullpen. It seems like things are all going really well for Jose Alvarado. I think he is going to have a big season.
Is Jose Alvarado having a big season enough, though? Is that enough for the Phillies, or are you still concerned about this bullpen?
Jordan Romano was kind of a question mark. I mean, they signed him as a 2-time All-Star closer, and the issue with him was he was coming off of an injury, and last year he just couldn't get it going when he was on the mound. I don't know that he was actually healthy last season, but he's looking really good too. He is also not allowed an earned run this spring. I think he's walked one and allowed 4 hits. In fact, today in the Toronto Star, they did a nice little profile on him. It was kind of one of those pieces where oh man, look what the Blue Jays gave up on. The Blue Jays could have retained him. They believe that if they had settled with him on an arbitration year, he would have earned maybe even a little less than what the Phillies gave him. But he has been absolutely lights out too. So if you consider you lost Jeff Hoffman, you lost Carlos Estevez, and so you've got those 2 arms in the back of your bullpen firing on all cylinders. One's a lefty, one's a righty. You think back to that 2022 duo that really dominated for the Phillies. So you feel a lot better about this year if Jose Alvarado is back instead of a question mark from last year. And if Jordan Romano really comes back to form as he was with the Toronto Blue Jays for 2 straight seasons, then all of a sudden you're feeling really good about this bullpen. Even if Matt Strahm is out for a little bit, you're going to be all right. And it sounds like with Matt Strahm, they do have Tanner Banks as another lefty. They still have other good arms in the bullpen from the right side. Ryan Kirkering probably moves up in the depth chart a little bit. Ruiz was really good last year, so they do have some depth in that bullpen still. And while in the past mailbags, I might have put the bullpen as, if you're talking about offense, starting rotation, bullpen, I probably had the bullpen ranked 3rd. I think it's looking pretty good right now.
All right, Klose, Phillies mailbag each and every week at 973ESPN.com. We have a question about the catcher position. And I think part of the reason why, Frank, Morgan is asking this question is because of all of the speculation about what's Marchand's status moving forward. Is Stubbsy the big locker room guy, right? So this is not an easy decision for the Phillies.
It really isn't, and I think what's going to have a lot to do with this is simply the fact that Garrett Stubbs can be sent to the minor leagues. Rafael Marchand cannot. When Marchand's been up with the Phillies, and if you remember, he came up even as early as 2020 as a really young player, kind of out of necessity during the COVID season. And whenever he has played, he's made appearances 2 other seasons. He has hit. I mean, he's hit 279 in the major leagues, and he's had 111 at bats. I mean, which isn't a totally small sample size. But beyond that, he has shown a lot of talent behind the plate as well. And the tough luck loser here is Garrett Stubbs, who, if you take away his at bats, which I know as a lot of fans have been critical of how he's hit at the plate, behind the plate, he's been really, really good. He's worked with the pitchers really well. He was an integral part of the game planning process with JT Realmuto and the pitchers. He was always in on those meetings. He really is what you want in a backup catcher. And let's face it, the Phillies historically have had a catcher who catches the most of any catcher in Major League Baseball, up until his injury last year. So I think for the Phillies, they need more of a Marchand at this point, where he has some more upside. He can maybe play more, especially as you're trying to dial JT Realmuto back a little bit, given his age, trying to keep him fresher, deeper into the season. So I think the way it's all lining up, Garrett Stubbs is going to be in AAA to start the season, and Rafael Marchand is going to be your backup catcher, who plays perhaps a little bit more than the backup catcher has the last few years. And it's barring a trade. I mean, I'm sure somebody would love to trade for Garrett Stubbs to be their backup catcher if the opportunity arises. But the Phillies don't have a lot of depth in their system right now. When they made the Jesus Luzardo trade, they grabbed Paul McIntosh in that trade, not because he was necessarily a piece they were really targeting, but they really needed more catching depth. And so McIntosh probably will be down there at AAA to be available if they need somebody. But he's 27 years old. He's really not a prospect. But, when you look at the best Phillies catching prospect, that's Eduardo Tate, and he's 18 years old at this point. So Phillies don't have a lot of depth at the position. So I think that's kind of tough luck for Garrett Stubbs starting the year at AAA. I'm sure you'll see him at some point. It's really hard to go through a whole season with only using 2 catchers. Phillies actually have done it a couple times in the last few years. But, it's just a matter of circumstance, unfortunately. And, you might feel a little bad for Stubbs, but, I mean, it's really time for Marchand to either show what he can do or the Phillies move on from him completely. But right now, Marchand, switch hitter, probably the better fit given what they want to do with JT Realmuto.
Frank, before I let you go, it's not a question in the mailbag, but it's a question that I've been waiting to ask you all day. And that is, today the Phillies leadoff hitter was Kyle Schwarber, not Trey Turner. So for you, do you think the Phillies are still undecided about their lineup? Do you think the leadoff hitter is going to be Turner if you had to project? What is your perspective on a lineup? Because I think a lot of people, they like the idea of Turner moving to the leadoff hitter, but the Phillies don't seem 100% committed to it.
Yeah, I'm among the people that like Turner as the leadoff hitter. I think you need more speed up there, and I think you need a better left-handed bat further down the lineup than third. I mean, today's lineup, you had Schwarber first, Harper third, as they did a lot in the past. But then beyond that, if Bryson Stott isn't hitting, Max Kepler isn't hitting, Brandon Marsh isn't hitting, that's not a lot of power from the left side, even if they are hitting, right? So now I think they've liked what they've seen from Stott and Marsh and Kepler so far. So I think right now they're just trying to look at the lineup with the lefties deeper in the lineup that I just mentioned. But at the end of the day, I think it makes much more sense to have Trey Turner leading off, having Bryce Harper, your best hitter, second, and then Schwarber fourth. You think about all the solo home runs Schwarber has hit the last several years. If you had runners on base, I mean, imagine how many more runs he would drive in. And I think if Bryson Stott had emerged as a power bat that can drive in a lot of runs, batting maybe fifth or sixth, it might have been more comfortable. Now, he could be that again, but we don't really know, right? So he mentioned he had the little elbow issue last year. Remains to be seen completely if he's fully over that. So I tend to prefer the Turner leadoff lineup. But, as I said many times on the air, Schwarber leading off, when Turner was struggling and they went back to Schwarber, it's really hard to argue with when you're winning. And they won 95 games last year, even with not much from the left side further in the lineup. I don't know. Maybe they think Gabe. Oh my gosh! How many times am I going to do this about Kepler? It's spring training for me too, Josh. So, Max Kepler can give them a little something from the left side. Maybe they consider it, but I think they're just trying to look at both right now. I'm surprised they're still doing it this late in spring training, which makes me wonder now if maybe they might go with the Schwarber leadoff again, but. I don't know. I'm not in Rob Thompson's head, but we'll see what he does this last week.
Phillies mailbag each week at 973ESPN.com. Give Frank a follow. Frank Klose on Twitter and Blue Sky for all your Phillies questions each and every week. And he compiles them all and puts them into that mailbag at 973ESPN.com. Frank, I appreciate you jumping on. We made it work despite the softball game.
Always good to talk to you, Josh.
Frank Klose, everybody, our Phillies insider from 97.3ESPN.com. Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN. On the other side, our Bet 365 play of the day. And then one more opportunity for you to qualify for your chance to win Phillies opening day tickets or Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field.
Listen to all the madness. March Madness is coming to 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. All tournament long, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code RADIO100 to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
New Jersey's got a lot of wow to go around all year round. Wow's on the slopes, on the waves, and on the stage. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
Hey, not to be dramatic, but you should smell this. Smells so good.
Whoa, that's quite the reaction to mixing and matching Gain scents. Let's hear another from Ashley, who mixed Gain products and went,
I'm so excited.
yes, you are. What about you, Isaiah?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and Emily summed it up like so.
It is just chef's kiss.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Mix, match, more happy with Gain.
Important Social Security news. President Trump's Doge chief, Elon Musk, says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. And he says there's so much fraud, it's the big one to eliminate. Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, warning that your Social Security could be in danger. Already, Doge is slashing half the Social Security offices across the nation. Rob Finnerty says that's wrong. Millions will find their benefits denied. You paid into Social Security all your life. Now, Rob Finnerty exposes the lies about Social Security and why it must be protected. Watch Rob's special series on the dangers to Social Security at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app. Millions of Americans are switching to Newsmax because it's news they can trust. It's real news for real people.
Stay comfortable with Broadleaf's plumbing, heating, and air conditioning in every season. From expert repairs to system replacements, Broadleaf's has you covered. Join their family comfort plan for priority service, repair savings, and worry-free annual maintenance. Broadleaf's offers free quotes, rebates, and 0% financing on system installs. So give Broadleaf's, your local factory authorized Bryant dealer, a call today at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleafs.net.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is New Jersey Human Services Commissioner Sarah Edelman. Home health aides and direct support professionals are in high demand to help older adults and individuals with disabilities to live active lives. Learn more today. Visit jobsthatcare.nj.gov.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. So, yes, we will not have the Sports Bash the next couple of days here. We'll have the tournament during the day, so you can listen on 97.3 ESPN and 97.3 ESPN mobile app. So, because of that, our Bet365 play of the day is going to be about the tournament. All right, so I got a couple picks for you guys for your Bet365, whatever the sport, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. It's heard tonight on 97.3 ESPN. I like Mount St. Mary's to win this game outright. They are a 3-point dog over on the Caesars Sportsbook app. I like Mount St. Mary, who just won the MAC tournament. This is an American team that's not very good. Okay, let's be realistic. They probably don't even belong here. So, give me Mount St. Mary's tonight to cover 3.5 points, 2.5 points. Just pick them outright. All right. Next day in the tournament, a couple picks I like tomorrow. Of course, you hear all the action right here on 97.3 ESPN. I like the under 145.5 in the Creighton-Louisville game. I think that'll be a low-scoring game in that matchup. I also like tomorrow in the action. I'm trying to find it here. I would have done a better job if I had written this down, but I have this all saved in my phone. Here it is. I like Yale to cover the 7.5 versus Texas A&M. They're a very veteran-laden Yale team in action this weekend. And also tomorrow, I like University of North Carolina. If I get the name of the darn school right before I run out of time here. University of North Carolina, Wilmington. There we go. I like them to cover the 14.5 points tomorrow versus Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is way overrated. So those are your Bet365 plays of the day. All right, you know what that sounder means. Final opportunity today for you guys to qualify to win Phillies tickets for the home opener, or the opportunity for you to go see Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field on Memorial Day weekend. 609-573-3776. Callers 6 and 7. This is your final opportunity today to qualify. 609-573-3776. Callers 6 and 7. You are in for the chance to win either Phillies home opener tickets or Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field. And you must be present to win. And Maynard's in Margate next Thursday with Mike Gill and the Sports Bash. I'm Josh Hennig. Thank you for listening to 97.3 ESPN.
It's Phil's opening day at Maynard's Cafe in Margate on Thursday, March 27th, starting at 2 p.m. Win Phillies home opener tickets with parking or Metallica at the link and try Maynard's famous sandwiches. Visit Maynard's today, your one-stop destination for fun in Margate.